Folks, welcome back to another Hardpoints episode. I got the break time boys with me. I got Merk, I got Maven, I got Crowder. My goodness gracious, you guys look so gosh darn handsome. Guys, we thought we were going to start this episode a lot later on tonight, but you know what happened? The matches were all 3-0s. We were done super quick. We were texting each other. We're like, oh, okay, I guess we're just going to do it around the normal time. We weren't really affected at all. Not really expected based on some of the matchups that we saw today, but hey, quick 9-0. We're here. What's going on? We're going to talk about the early matches for CDL for the opening weekend, things like that. And then we got Super Week going on so far. We've seen 2 days of matches so far, matches throughout the rest of the week and the weekend as well. So lots of different looks at these different teams, different matchups, things like that. But folks, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Another live episode of Hardpoints. Boys, how we feeling? I know Joe and Maven, you haven't casted any part of the Super Week yet. First off, what's your 2 schedule looking like for casting?
We are Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and exactly what matches we are, I forget.
Yeah, that's fine. I just
we're those 4 days though. So
the two Wednesday, last 2 Wednesday, last 2 Friday, first Saturday, last 2 Sunday.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Very
cool. We'll be back.
So yeah, basically the first day was 2 matches, and then every other day is 3 matches. I'm pretty sure, right? There's no like 4 stack days. No, they're all 3.
No, well, it's a big deal because this is like because remember, it's 3 weeks leading into the major.
Correct.
So like because this has been consolidated into 1 week for the second and third weeks. I mean, Sunday we're gonna know our seeds. So like this is I mean,
oh yeah, I forgot. This is 2 weeks packed into one. Super week.
So exactly. So like these next couple of days, that's why it's gonna be a fun episode.
Joe, what you got there?
I want to tell.
Oh no, nothing.
Nothing. It's apple juice. It's apple juice. But I want to touch on like week 1 a little bit because we never really covered it. But like we need to start. I know we're gonna do a playoff episode next week, but like we can start to talk about the importance of these matches this weekend because this decides everything for the first like major.
Exactly. The seeds are super important for those that are, might not know what these matches mean for the regular season. We covered it on the last episode, but basically these regular season matches are going to seed into the playoff bracket, into the major, and basically top seeds get a pretty big advantage. Bottom seeds have to go right into the elimination matches right away. Pretty stressful stuff. So every single match that's going on throughout the rest of this week, the Super Week, it's 2 weeks condensed into one, hence the Super Week title. It's going to be absolutely insane. And also we're learning a lot more about how these teams are performing early on in the season. Going into this first major, we talked throughout the last season how important it is to get CDL points early on because the seeds really benefit you throughout the rest of the year. Obviously, there's a bunch of majors to play, lots of Call of Duty to be played still, but this first one, very, very important. So based on what we've seen so far, we had some matches, well, not last week, but the week before that, and then some interesting, the whole reason that matches got delayed is because of weird weather conditions, right? There's a lot of teams located in Texas. Clint and I are here, and let me just tell you, the weather was unexpected. And that's why Clint's got the tundra up in the background. That's basically where
lucky both of you guys had electricity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
we got really lucky.
I have people whose there's stories of people whose pipe burst, basements flooded or like floors flooded, power out, people getting power bills that are insane based on like how the grid worked for their area. I've heard all these insane stories, and thankfully, even though we purchased like an older home, we had no problems, so very blessed there.
The only thing that happened to me is I lost hot water for a couple of days, but for where
some cold waters.
Yeah, cold showers. The first day I was a little bit cold, but then my neighbors all weren't affected. So I'm like, hey, can I come shower real quick? And they're like, that's weird, but sure. So I just did that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we were pretty fortunate.
As long as we can watch.
For those that were affected by that, I hope you guys are doing okay. I know there's a lot of people that we knew in the area that were, severely affected, right? We saw some of the COD pros tweeting about their conditions, having to figure out a solution. People's houses not being able to get warmed up because no power, right? So very, very weird. And I just want to throw it out there too. Texas isn't, at least where we're at in Texas, it's not built for that type of thing, right? It's the infrastructure. So there's like a lot of people like, nah, I live here and it's negative 47 degrees every single day and I wear shorts. Like, cool, man.
I grew up in Pennsylvania. The amount of snow and weather we got, like the next day, kids would have been going to school and we would have been fine. Like it would have been nothing. But here, like the whole state shut down for a week. Like it's just not. Yeah, it's the infrastructure. It's not built for it. They're not icing or like putting salt on the roads the night before and have snow trucks out. Like it's not a goddamn thing. It's like we're in Texas.
Yeah. It was a very, very interesting story. So that's why obviously, if you don't have power, you don't have internet. And if you don't have internet, you can't play COD in the CDL. So, and there's a lot of teams that were affected by it, obviously. So they pushed the matches back. CDL thinking on their feet, making the Super Week. I like the branding of it. I think it's a good name for it. Condense it down into 2 weeks. And I got to say, if I was a pro, I'd like to get the CDL pros' opinion on it. I would prefer this. Just keep running it back every single day. I know it's probably hard on the back end, running the broadcast every day. I mean, you two working it, obviously the caster schedule is pretty spread out, so it's probably not terrible for you guys to just have it all in 1 week. But the player side of it, you'd probably love it, right? I would.
Yeah, no, my players have been saying that they loved it. Like when they first heard about it, they were super stoked. That was like their first reaction. They literally
Players
heard
are
it was like a
always
Super Week,
gonna say,
like,
"I want to play
yes.
more."
Yeah.
Anytime when I worked at League Ops and MLG, any option that gave players more matches, players voted for. I mean, they want as many opportunities as possible, which as a player you want, because that gives you more opportunities to not make mistakes, or if you do make mistakes, to bounce back from it, right? It's sort of the it's like, okay, worst case scenario, we can do this, and kind of what Maven was talking about, where there's only 5 games. There's not a lot of that. You have 5 games, and if you mess up, the pressure's there. So
yeah,
as a player, you're always going to vote for the option which you're playing more. But in terms of what teams will have 3 to 4 matches this week, so I'm sure they're pumped about it.
I don't think there was a lot of options, to be honest with you. Like there's a relatively started a little bit later in the year. I think this is kind of how it needed to go down to stay within the schedule, and I think it works out pretty well for everybody. So I'm glad it was relatively easily solved, and even though I'm sure it involved 1,000 conversations to get there.
Definitely. I mean, I'm happy it's working out. You got to get the certain amount of matches in before the major so everyone get their points. Just a quick comment from chat. Maven looking small. Yeah, I did this on purpose. Maven's actually a giant, right? And I just want to make sure he fit in with the rest of us because we're, obviously not, luxurious bald eagle like him, right? So I made him a little bit smaller on the graphic. And, now he's sitting up. Okay, you ruined it.
Closer to the camera.
No,
I gotta sit on a pillow.
I did it on purpose. Now I'm gonna zoom it out even more to make ourselves feel better.
Wait.
That's like I have the picture in the background.
You look great.
The green screen, and people are like, "How, dude? You don't have no, dude, Clinton. You have no idea how many people thought you were like 5'5". Like, look how much. I didn't know.
He's a big guy.
Small. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like 6'5", 240, 250. You're a big boy now.
Let's 235. Let's 235.
That's the Path of Exile cut.
45.
You eat once a day?
Before
just grinding, eating some. What I have today, I had
Maven eats a party sandwich. This is Maven's diet. Before we hop into CDL, this is Maven's diet. A party pack of Taco Bell tacos. That's 20 of them. An entire large pepperoni pizza in one sitting. That he probably warms up, or actually no, he probably just leaves it out and then grabs another slice about 9-10 hours later as he's still playing Path of Exile. And
weirdly accurate.
And then probably like a normal like Chipotle order before a CDL cast. Is that accurate?
Yeah. What was it the other day? You had like a cold Shake Shack burger and fries. Yep. But I think my favorite story this past week was you got on to stream
the coffee,
and you don't like cook food. You don't make food. I don't know. You basically survive off delivery, in which in the state of Texas, when there's a giant blizzard, there wasn't much going on. And the one day he got on and said, "Oh, wait, I have to eat food. I have to survive." And he opened up the DoorDash app and he found the only thing that was an option was 7-Eleven. And he ordered, what'd you order? Taquitos or something?
Some taquitos, dude. The taquitos.
How desperate do you have
7-Eleven taquitos are good.
They're delicious.
They're really tasty. They're terrible for you, but
you can't have a bowl of cereal or like oatmeal. You don't got you can't make a little peanut butter and jelly.
Normal.
You had to go.
Wait, Maven doesn't know how to make a coffee.
Listen.
Remember that?
You'd have spent probably $25 for taquitos from 7-Eleven.
When I walk to the door, I grab the food, I bring it down here. A bowl of cereal, I have to walk, I have to open a cabinet, I have to get a bowl, I have to open a drawer, I have to get a spoon, I have to open a cabinet, I have to get the cereal, I have to open a fridge, I have to get milk. Listen to all those steps there. Listen to how many steps you just added,
That's
to
true.
what I wanted to do.
It's not time efficient at all for your busy schedule.
Not efficient at all. Not efficient at all.
Believe that. Like, did you guys not think like there's a winter storm coming? We should probably get some food.
Cat got a ton of groceries. I just didn't want to go
Oh,
through the
okay.
process I just mentioned to you.
Oh, you left that part out, which makes it even worse.
Oh, there was a ton of food here.
Okay, that's horrible. That makes things way worse. Way worse.
He's got a stock fridge. Oh man, I love it. Those taquitos are fire.
Delicious,
dude. Taquitos and an iced coffee. Forget about it. I love Baldy. He's my favorite person on the planet. Okay, now that we've covered Maven's diet and his, how he handled the cold this week, I don't think it affected him at all, to be honest. Yeah, he's fine. Okay.
I played video games. I watched The Expanse. That's all I did.
I got to start watching that. That looks good. Okay, let's get into matches. So first we're going to talk about the first week of matchups that we saw, and the biggest one, the matchup that everyone probably wants to talk about the most was the Faze versus Optic matchup. Look at that. We got Faze's coach in here. That's a good person to talk to about it, right? So going back to that matchup, the biggest difference maker, obviously, if you guys watch that match back, it did end up going to map 5. And what happened to the SnDs? Someone talk about it.
6-0, 6-1, but I want to ask a question to Chris real quick, and I'm curious how he'll answer it. Is aBeZy the best player in the game right now?
Is aBeZy the best player in the game? When he's on, in my opinion, yeah. Like I think when he's on with the play style that he plays, like the amount of pressure he puts on the map, like I think it's like the most impactful person in the game.
Okay.
Like
I thought you would skirt around that, but like I think I totally agree. I think when he is on, aBeZy is the most terrifying person on the map, and I would never want to play against him ever in a million years.
That's his thing, is when he's on, I think he's one of the best players in the game. And it's not even like statistics wise. I just think it's the fact of like how annoying he is to play against him. I got to play against him like in the late section of my career. And like there is just like he's coming vents or
he's
doing this, and
you know what
he's
he's
doing
gonna
that.
do.
Like you can counter for him, and of course, like there's everyone's human. He gets shut down here and there, but it's like when he is not getting shut down, it's just the most annoying thing. There's nothing worse than like planning for someone to do something, them doing it,
It's just
and being
worse.
like, "Haha, got you, idiot," and then like he throws you, and you're just like, "All right, dude." Like so. I definitely think he's one of the most impactful players like in Call of Duty right now, especially when he's
playing
on point.
really well. Yeah.
Now, I guess because I think what week 1 and what really made me mad, like week 1, and I think I was talking to Clint about this. I think this is a trend in kind of like sports as it is right now. It's sort of like these overreactions,
social media and just everything.
Yeah, just like over like because there was like we'll get into like NYSL with Mac having a bad match, and immediately people were like, Hydra, like get Hydra in. Asim was like, Asim's been great, but immediately like that's their thing. Same with Optic. It's like, we suck at search again. You guys didn't practice search, yada yada. Let me put it this way: you could play search and destroy 8 hours a day, right? You could get up on stage, and a team could literally perfectly counter you every single round, and you could lose, no matter how much practice you've put in. We've all been there.
Yeah.
You could have a play call. Let's go B3, hit this, do this, boom, perfect countered, right? Like it happens to everyone. So like, I don't know. I think, and when you watch like the streams afterwards, Optic, they've obviously practiced search and destroy, and there were some mistakes. I think there were some blatant mistakes. I'm not saying that. I'm not covering their tracks,
or lack of adjustments, or I mean, there were a couple things,
I just think it's like, we're in this situation again where we suck at search after one match. I just think that FaZe is a really good search team. They lost to a really good search team in a game 5, and it's okay. Like you can lose a match. Like
and on
like
top of that,
it's not like the worst thing in the world to lose.
We don't even have smokes or snipers yet.
Right.
Like you have. When was the one time, and like going back on top of your thing here, sort of with like the whole, because I think I said it on broadcast and got some flack, but like for the most part, it has been true. And I only use Scump's name because it's kind of Scump's Optic. But when you think for a long time about Optic, it's not that they were like that bad at search. It's just they've been so good at respawn that the disparity between their respawn and search has always been a pretty wide gap, at least in my eyes. There's always been a big disparity there. And the only time I could think where like there was an event where they were the best search team or close to it was that first event,
Vegas.
It was Vegas, and Dashy and TJ were like number 1 and number 2 in search and destroy KD, and they dominated. And that's why they brought them in to be the playmakers search and destroy. So you have Dashy, who is going to be your playmaker in search and destroy, but you don't have snipers in search. Right. You don't have smokes in search. Like we're not even playing search yet. Like what it's going to be. Like I guess I think it's going to change quite a bit. And I'm not saying just because Dashy can snipe that'll change the game, but like search is going to change pretty drastically, assuming snipers and smokes are a thing.
I agree, but I also disagree with that. Like, being a good search team doesn't mean you have a good sniper on your team. Like, being a good this has
I
nothing to
get
do
that, but
to what Joe said. Optic losing 2 searches to us doesn't mean anything. It was a match. It was a match against 2 really good teams, and we won searches. If we play that match the next day, we can easily lose. Like, it's search and destroy is something where, I mean, a lot of the players like Simp, Abizi, and all those guys, Dashy, TJ, like those guys have all come from search and destroy only, right? And you can play search and destroy 10 hours a day, like you said. And I have
Yep.
watched Simp go on runs for like 2-3 weeks in Black Ops 3 where he like wasn't losing maps, and then he'd go in a slump. Everywhere, like, it's search and destroy. Like, especially with 6 rounds to win, all you have to do is have a hot start to go up 3-0 on a team, and you're like already in the driver's seat. So like the search and destroy is as consistent as you want it to be, and like the mid game adjustments and stuff that we can go like super deep into. Not right now, but like it's always gonna happen. Like, so I think like for sure, like Optic doesn't look bad at SnD at all. Like, I think they just had the one mishap against us, and I don't think you can really hold it against them. And it's only one match, so like that whole narrative of like the overreaction was really
I mean,
stupid.
it could be a trend. That could be a
Well, it
thing,
could be,
but it's
but
like
you
it's
can't-
one
you
game.
can't
Like,
say that. Yeah, you can't say that after one thing. So like to
I
give
get
them
it.
credit, like that doesn't matter. But like to what you're saying, like I don't think I know what you're saying because how good Dashy is at sniping. Same thing with Simp and a bunch of other players in the league. But being a good search team is more than that. Like, I feel like the what makes a good search team to me is the 2v2s that you get into, the 3v2s, the 3v3s, the 1v2s, like those
small round
situations
scenarios. Yeah.
that you can't prep for, you can't game plan for that well. Like, obviously you can do a little bit of it. Those are how you actually become like a really, really good search team, because like the mid game adjustments, the mid round calls, the mid round plays, that's like where you really see like teams kind of excel in search. Even if you watch us play Toronto, like a lot of those, we started off slow. We made some mid game adjustments, but those late game calls in the 2v2 with the BZ and RCDs versus I think it was Kleenex and Bance, like those, like Toronto has had better mid game calls, and that's something you can practice for by playing it and getting reps. But that's what makes a really good team. So I don't think like a sniper is
Agreed.
the only thing to like
Well,
highlight there.
I want to ask TeeP, and this is going to go. I'm going to go off script a little bit because I think
Go
we're
for it.
already diving further into this SnD thing. But like
Mhm.
further down the script, but like Mutineers have had 2 losses, right? And like they are a team that when we looked at it, and they're 2 search losses. Awakening's like putting up double digits. He's like the #1 search and destroy player. They're losing 10 round games where they're 8-2 in first blood. So like opening engagements, they're winning them 8-2 and still losing maps. So like how, I guess I do kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into that. Like how do you improve from there? You're getting the first blood, you're going up 4-3, you're having the 3v2s, and you're still like, if you have 8-2 first blood, you should be winning a map 90% of the time.
So
Reps.
to answer your question, reps, and not reps though, good reps. That's
Mhm.
the thing, is search and destroy is probably one of the most undervalued practice things like in the pro world. It's been for a while. We've kind of talked about that. There's been so many teams that are good at respawn and they suck at SnD. And in the Optic case, not this current Optic, but like back in the day when they were like really in their dynasty, that there was just such that disparity that you were talking about. I get that. But like nowadays, I feel a lot of times when you play SnD, it's just like teams trying stuff and running at each other and just like laughing about it, like in those 3v3s. But like if you actually take those a lot more serious and, you know, try 2v2 setups in a clutch, or you plan on this side, we do this rep. Like if you take those reps and actually get really good reps, that's how you become a better team. But I feel like
Agreed.
a lot of teams, even my team, has gotten some pretty poor search practice last year, and even with 100 Thieves, we had some bad search practice here and there too. It's just how it is. It's kind of trying to think, like, you know how was it Cap tweeting about control, like how like control's played so much slower in a match.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's the same thing like with search
Same with
practice,
search.
man. It's like
Yeah.
you can't get that seriousness sometimes, and then those like more tensed up situations where it's a 3v3 and it's 4-4 and you actually have to win the round, and it's not a scrim where you can like laugh about the round. That's like where you have to like practice, and that's kind of getting reps, what I would say like good reps. And I feel as the league goes on more and more and the more competitive it gets, I think we're slowly getting to like way more advanced search practice, but I think it's still kind of
Well,
to be
TeeP, do you
honest.
think this is like sort of difficult? Like, all right, let's think about we talk about the fact that I've said this. I think Call of Duty is one of the hardest esports to stay on top as a player because we change titles every year. We have different game modes every year. So, like, think about you talk about these repetitions, and something like Counter Strike's a good example, right? Same game mode
Mhm.
all the time, different maps. You get those repetitions, and you constantly do. Like, yeah, I guess TeeP, in your eyes, this is a factor of like we do have a lot of different maps and modes. It's just very, very hard to kind of be good at all modes and search? Is it hard to get reps on everything, I guess? Or am I giving the players an excuse here?
I think the amount of time that pro players actually have to get good at our game is very small compared to other esports. So when you think about all the different combinations of maps and modes that we have, in comparison, they don't have that much time. They probably don't get that many quality reps on a Garrison SnD, or pick out a random SnD. How many reps on that are they getting compared to like a Garrison Hardpoint? Hardpoint's going to be double, triple, maybe, if you're including like 8s and things like that. One thing I do want to go back to is the like sniper conversation. Snipers matter more when there is like a mismatch. If you're talking an Optic Faze, there's not like it's simp sniping, right? Dashy sniping. It's a wash, right? One of those guys gonna do something stupid that's on
whoever he's on the day.
Yeah, who's on the day, exactly. So that was like we saw that a lot in like BO4, for example, where simp got a 3-piece. That was that round. There's really not much more to talk about, and Dashy would do the same sort of thing. And then talking about like SnD reps, Crowder gave a perfect example too, because I'll go back to my coaching days. I spent our World War II and then Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4, our SnD was pretty solid at times, but our map pool was way too small, and teams knew that. Crowder, you knew that when we did vetoes. We had very limited options, and we spent so much time. I spent so much time trying to get us better at other maps, especially going back to World War II. So I would just sit there and watch VODs and figure out, who's going where's the mismatch, things like that. And your first 25% of the round, that's something you can really calculate, right? You can get good reps on that. But if your mid-round plans suck, that's where it doesn't matter. We would get bloods all the time. I'm like, we should have this round in the bag. We get to a post-plant scenario and we look like a bunch of idiots. Chickens with their heads cut off because we didn't have enough solid plan. Whoever's making calls at that time, it can turn into a mess. And you really notice the teams that have that wager player style of SnD where they keep moving together, they keep getting knowledge on the map. I feel like players that are like slow and like don't gain a lot of information when it comes to like clutches, and that's the type of SnD that we're playing right now, right? You can't really do random stuff. You can't pop a smoke and hit a random timing and things like that. So it's really down to those 2v2 scenarios to see who gains information the best. So
and to add on to that, so like without smokes and like the snipers and the random timings, that's where you really see like the teamwork kind of come in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You guys said it's very hard to stay on top of Call of Duty because the game changes every year. I agree. Wholeheartedly agree. I was better at some CODs in my pro days and then others. Like I get that. Search and Destroy has been around since 2007. Like it's not like like I'm not even trying to be an ass here, but there are obviously players here and there that are better at Hardpoint or they're better at Search and they need to work on one or the other. But I still find it odd, like that Control, you probably get twice as much reps on Control than you do Search and Destroy as a pro through the entire year. And if you look at a series, Control is one map, Search is game 5 and map 2. Like I don't see how it makes almost like sense. Even I'm not saying we do this. We play Control more than we play Search too. I get it. But it's just like very odd that Search and Destroy is like so undervalued and also just not practiced by like players. Like I feel like you do have the time to get good at Search and Destroy. It's not Garrison Search and Destroy versus Arklov Peak Search and Destroy. Yeah, maps play differently, but the concept of Search and Destroy is the same through every single year.
Yeah.
So it's not like I feel like that's kind of a lame excuse to use. Like, the game changes every year. They need more time to work on Garrison Search. It's like not really.
I'll say we had like a couple games where that probably doesn't apply, but like 75%, you're totally spot on.
If you're taking jetpacks out of it, it's pretty spot on.
Exactly.
And that's my thing where it's like you have players that have historically struggled in Search and you don't see those players playing wagers every day. Like shit like that, I think is like crazy to me. And also in team environments, I still think that it's undervalued, even like from our own team, where you have players that come from SnD, but then they become pro and then they forget that they came from SnD and then they stop practicing it and hold on to their ego of SnD from 4 years ago. Like that happens too. I've even given my players some shit when they're not doing well in SnD. And I'm like, just because you guys were superstars in SnD a couple years ago does not mean you can just not play the mode. You have to practice it and keep reps up just like anything in life. So I don't know. I don't think that's a fair excuse to not be good at SnD just because the game mode changes. It's pretty simple for the most part. So I just feel it's undervalued in the pro world. I think with the franchising and it becoming more serious and having a staff and a coaching staff and like more people to kind of make you practice sometimes when you don't want to do it and like, plan these practices, I think it's going to help down the line.
Here's my
Especially as
idea.
it gets more competitive, but I don't know.
I get it. On the pro side, it's tough. Like you said it already. When you set up like a team scrim or whatever for
Yeah.
SnD, people are just going through the motions. They're just trying random shit. There's no pressure on it, right? So we see all these players play 8s or whatever, right? Here's what I would do if I was a pro. Let's say you don't have enough to play respawn 8s or whatever. Play a 2v2. Play a 3v3. Is it going to be the most competitive thing in the world? No, but it's going to put you in scenarios where you're in a 1v3. You're in a 1v2. And what do you do? And are those the best reps? No, but I think getting put in like weird 1v2 and 1v3 scenarios like that is probably sometimes better practice than what you're going to get in like a, regular 4v4 team scrim scenario for SnD, right? That's what I would do. Try and make it like make it something you do where you can play 8s, where you can focus on your own style of clutching and spots you like to play on a given map. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think people would actually do that or no?
I mean, that's what Empire does. They're always playing 2v2s, and they're always those like 3 guys. I mean, we saw it last year. I mean, it just felt like anytime Illy, Shotzi, and Hook were alive, like they had exact idea. They knew exactly what to do.
No,
they were playing 3v3 tournaments every night. I mean, they probably still do.
Not everyone does.
No, I mean, I don't. It's kind of what I was going to bring up is like I would love to like see a day of practice in like the Counter-Strike world, because that would probably be the easiest thing to, or Valorant, sort of see how do these teams operate and how these teams sort of, I don't know, how do you deal with those things, like, because that's the biggest problem. And maybe it's sort of an in-house search team, whatever it may be. You know, that was one thing that we talked about last year with the Ultra, like 10-man roster, was they could run those simulation rounds types things of what it may be. So maybe there's a world, or the United Cadet team, when, what was that, World War II, when they were running search first one? I don't know. I feel like there's options that they could do, but yeah, I mean, it's still, so it's what we talk about. I mean, I don't know if anyone has really figured out the best formula, but it needs to get better for a lot of these teams, for a lot of these guys. I mean, the trends continue to be where they're poor in search and destroy at times, and it's just like how are you as a player like, man, I'm just so bad at this, like, but I guess I'll just stay bad at like I just don't get that mindset. Just
I don't think you
go ahead. No, I was gonna say let's transition out of this, because I feel like
agree.
we've gotten it. I feel like we've gotten into this SnD roundtable before, but I just wanted to hop into it quick because like the Mutineer specifically like shocked me, and then the Optic thing shocked me. But I kind of want to go to something positive if that's cool with like the Optic side. Like Joe, we were talking about this earlier, like the Dashy, he wanted to be back. He's back. And despite the loss, Joe, and despite the fact that, the SnDs are embarrassing, like Dashy looks goddamn good.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I mean, he
in
can
general looks amazing.
He can be, it's kind of what we expect. But I think people didn't forget about, I mean, he was one of the best players in the world, and he can be different. That. And I think if you obviously know what you're getting on an Envoy, Formal's playing at a really high level, like Dashy's playing like that in respawns. I mean, the team's just going to be really tough to beat. Look what it took Atlanta Faze to beat him. I mean, it was a heroic play out of a BZ, right? And yeah, that's just what it is going to take on that Moscow hardpoint. Like, there's going to be big time plays that come out of these players at the highest level, but you kind of just saw Optic and Respawns, and they are very buttoned up in all of those game modes. Kind of what we were talking about.
How good did that moment feel, Joe? Because we were casting it and I lost it, and Chris, you were probably losing it watching the match, but watching a triple kill actually like seal a game like that, like watching that play happen. Abizi made that play. RC's had the street side pushed out, just watching the spawn and being like, he just iced the game. He just sealed it. And like, some years past, if it was jetpacks or if it was the spawns last year, like, they can get there fast enough, or they're gonna spawn 5 feet away. But like that play, I don't know. It's just like those moments are gonna be so much more this year, where like I just lost my shit. Like that play was so fucking big, and it just won the game. I still need to watch it back. I don't know if, because we hopped on just for the last kill, and I think I don't know if he just shit on Dashy or if it was an awkward gunfighter dashy, or if Abizi didn't take damage. Like I still need to watch it back and see like how the hell he won that third gunfight. But that stuff like that, those moments.
Seriously, imagine that moment on LAN.
Like
saw
a
that in
chance,
chat.
like LAN, like
would've been crazy.
I wouldn't have a voice. Like that just. It did, yeah. That stuff's gonna be fun.
4v4. I mean, that's just the difference in 4v4, and I think like TeeP talked about too, like those plays. But you're also gonna see who kind of gets like, I mean, players like, or you're gonna get smoked at times in this. Like you have a bad control round, you're gonna have like a 0.5 KD. You get out rotated on raid hardpoint. There's gonna be some. We saw what was the 250 to 60 on Moscow. Like there's just gonna be some maps where people are gonna spawn up. 5 minutes is gonna go by and the game's gonna be over. Like it's gonna happen a lot often in 4v4 in this game. Like obviously with Garrison and some of these smaller maps, like of course there's gonna be more time play, but I mean you see it in raid, you see the swings. It'll be like 150 to 40. You'll look back up, it's 200 to 200. Like there's gonna be some big swings, and that's due to 4v4.
Yeah, I know we went down that SnD path about how Optics SnD doesn't look great. I don't think we put too much stock into that yet, but yeah. Just look at how close those respawns were. Like Optic very easily could have won that series and not even got to that last map, right? So they're looking.
Which
really...
hardpoint was the nutty one?
The Moscow.
Which hardpoint was the crazy? The Moscow.
I mean, both hardpoints were close.
Were they both crazy? Moscow.
The Moscow was the
crazy one. So I meant to say it was Moscow, and then what other map was nuts? Was it the control or was it the
Garrison?
Round 5
was round 5.
The Garrison, we probably. I mean, I hate playing the what if games because it's just obviously what if, but the Garrison. Simp and Arcides ran away from the scrap time to lose the game. Like if they, because we won the kill on rotation of P3, we had P3 spawns. If they don't get scrap time, we would have
that's when Joe and I we stopped looking at old. We started looking at new. They won the gunfights.
If you watch both their arrows, they got up and just left it and then tried to get back and they died out of it. Where if they don't do that, you know, that's probably a crazy time winding down. Like,
I remember because Joe and I both we went to commercial break, and Joe and I were both like, fuck. We both stopped looking at the old hardpoint because like we looked, we saw like one or two set up there, and all of our vision just went to the gunfights bottom. And you won them. We're like, oh my god, this is gonna be crazy. And we're like, oh, never mind. Optics and old. It's over.
Well, I think we thought they died, so that makes me feel better that they just ran away.
They ran away. They both went to run away, and then they were like,
and then they turned back,
and then they turned back, and then they lost the timing on the gunfight and died. Where if they don't do that,
that makes
it could be a little bit different. But
yeah, like the way they moved, they were like, oh, next hardpoint's about to pop up, and it didn't.
With the Bruce kill, by the way, apparently I'm pretty sure Dashy stopped shooting at that. But regardless of that kill, like I know people keep saying like, you know, like that kill versus Dashy was huge. If Tyler or Abizi dies right there, Cellium was probably going to trade that. Like because like he was by himself. Like that 3-piece was huge, but they were still in a tough spot. Regardless, plays like that are going to be huge. I mean, dude, when you have a team,
of course, the final kill is it's the fact he got 3.
No, I know.
Yeah. It was a 3-on-2. I think those were the only 2 there, right? I'm pretty sure it was like a rotation.
That's what it takes to get a 3-piece against people like this. Someone's got to mess up. That's the whole point.
Exactly. In order to make plays like that, it's usually off of someone making a mistake because of how talented all these guys are.
The reason we're gassing it up is because it's so rare.
Yeah, when you watch those teams play each other, man. With other teams in this league, it's going to be a mess up from a player stop shooting, or you know, a missed rotation, or a BZ and Simp, or Arcides and Simp running away on acts like that. Those little mistakes between so star-studded lineups of how good Optic is and how good everybody else is like going to be the difference. And that's why I think Call of Duty this year is going to be like my favorite to watch. We've kind of hinted at that leading up to that week anyway in those matches, but you can really see like when you're watching these teams play, man, like how good these players are. And like, I think that's huge. So it was, I don't know. I'm excited for the rest of the year.
The league is all just nasty, dude. Even watching some of the matches today, dude, people are pulling off some crazy stuff. I love it. Quick thing before we move on to the next series that we want to talk about. Do we have any sort of information on smokes or, I don't know, maybe like SnD changes in general? Nothing?
No.
So based on us kind of being in the dark, this is going to be it probably throughout the entire throughout the first major, at least maybe the second.
Probably for the first major,
yeah, it's still an issue of just fixing the one-way smoke issue, right?
And sniper flinch.
Well, I think because smokes are messed up, they're not sniping.
Oh yeah, I thought it was a smoke issue leading to the snipe issue.
I thought it was both.
I thought it was both.
Because I thought you guys got it to a point where it's like, what, no
Wait.
attachment snipers, and I thought it was just the fact that like the one-way smoke issue is why. Well, I guess I guess it's both. I thought it was more the smoke issue, but
I know people spectating and stuff don't like the no snipers because of how much variety and cool plays sniping
it's fun
adds.
to watch. Yeah,
But I personally love the no sniping gimmick because I think
Slashers wanted it forever.
watching,
Yeah.
well, because watching teams actually have to be good teamwork wise and stuff like that. To me, as someone who loves to like analyze Call of Duty, I love that kind of stuff. Of course, like watching someone drop 19 or like 15 kills with a sniper and quick scoping everyone is awesome for the esport itself. But
What does
I like
Slasher always say? It's like, imagine getting a free op in CS every round. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
But
No,
op, you like one shot someone in the
when you have
tail, though,
players
you're
like as talented as Dashy, Simp, and all these sniping, it's just like, dude, they hold an angle, they get a kill. And sometimes in Black Ops 4, you would watch Simp in Black Ops 4 specifically or Dashy. Oh, he's just hitting every snipe. This is not fun. Like when we would play each other, Tyler, he would just be like, "Yeah, well, this guy's on with a sniper. This sucks."
Yeah.
I mean, it's been entertaining enough for me just because, like I think I think Joe and I talked about on broadcast, just the clutch potential, the 1v1s, the little 2v2s that you'll have. It just seems like there's a lot more of those little, I guess, entertaining, fun moments. Even when we were commentating over accuracy, like I just knew if he was last alive, there might be a chance for a big play. Like you saw it all the time in World War II, and like we had 2 or 3 times where he like clutched up or attachment a big clutch. Like, even without snipers, I still think it's better search than we've had in a while. So I'm with it.
I'm gonna be a downer. I think Miami is just not good. I think Garrison SnD is even worse.
Miami, though. I really
like Miami.
I like it.
Miami has really a nice dynamic with the 2 bomb sites.
Without smokes and
worse.
snipes, I think Miami's just a. I don't know.
I think Garrison stinks. I actually don't mind Miami.
That's
I think
fair.
Miami with snipers would be really cool to watch.
Right.
It's just part of me loves sniping for the.
I imagine with Express, that's probably being discussed for like season 2 or whatever. I would imagine.
Whether Garrison or Miami?
I think Garrison needs to get swapped out for Express as soon as humanly possible. Garrison, you just can't go A. It's so dumb. I hate watching that map. I get mad watching.
That or Checkmate. I mean, Miami's better than both.
Yeah, I'd take Miami over both of those.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm just not a big fan of watching Miami SnD. I think Garrison. Are we in agreement that Garrison's the worst SnD?
Checkmate kind of sucks too.
Checkmate is kind of really bad.
At least you can do something. At least you can go to the other bomb.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough. I mean, both of those kind of the same problem, right?
Standoff too.
I'm actually surprised. Garrison is awful. I'm actually surprised I'm not getting more backup on this.
Well, they're both like very similar to me. They're very narrow and like.
Even in practice and stuff, I hate watching Garrison SnD.
I don't like Checkmate at all.
Good. That's fair.
But yeah, Checkmate's there.
I just like any map Garrison. Where you can't go to fucking A. It's like, what are we? How's this a thing? I don't know. Maybe I'm bugging, but
Checkmate. There's just so many timings where like things happen. It's like you can jump up the plane, you go down the plane. Like you can just catch somebody. Like there's just so much.
I'm not saying I'm not a big fan of Checkmate either. I'm just saying I think Garrison's way worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can make some swaps for the SnD rule set, I think that's going to help out a lot. Like imagine a standoff, imagine Express. I'm not even talking about nostalgia. Both those maps would just play a lot more better because the amount of strategy you can use on those maps, the amount of options that you have. And that's what makes a good SnD map, in my opinion. Options, right? It's not something too big where you run out of time if you have one play. It's a map that you can rotate on. It's a map where you can watch crosses and have decent line of sights, but not completely open. And that's why I think the problem is with Miami. I think the B side of the map is too much of a clusterfuck, and I think the other side of the map is just so open that one player can gain all the information for absolutely free. So I think if we get, I think we need to change up in SnD. I think the respawn map set is actually
Meltdown, baby.
Yeah, dude, that'd be sick too.
There's
so many potential maps that would fit in so well.
Squares. All of them. There's a pattern here. Every goddamn map that works is a square. Everyone that doesn't is a tiny, narrow little hallway.
Get him in there.
Great analysis.
Get him.
It just starts as simple as that.
But yeah, I think back to my point. I think the respawn map set is solid. Honestly, I don't know. I don't really have a problem with a lot. Maybe like a controller or two. Maybe you could swap out if one maybe would play better.
I would like to see maybe an Express for Checkmate. Yeah. I don't know, that Checkmate like a lower plane site is just so Teams have figured out the offside on Garrison and kind of the ways to different like play it and break it, but Checkmate, what is it, B, low B? I don't know what you do because it's like one of those things where if you put it in the plane, it just takes like one push and then it's almost like super offensive. I don't know. I don't know what you would do.
You know what I
I
think?
Express could maybe work, but I
I'm
don't
thinking.
know.
I'm stay with me here. Just one thing.
Really good.
I'm just snowballing here. I think one map that would work from BO3 would be Stronghold, and instead of the wall run on the left side, you put a staircase. And maybe
I
like,
always like Stronghold.
So you guys know you wall run into the kitchen, staircase, and a ladder up to top wherever that table was.
Bedroom.
Top bed.
Or top dining room or
When the-
bedroom.
I
Yeah,
think
that
you could
was
bring
just
a
a
Pops 4 map. I think you go like Freak. I think Freak 4v4 would be lit.
Facts.
4v4 would probably be better.
4v4
Definitely-
Freak would be
definitely
nasty
better
too.
than 5v5.
Agreed.
Yeah.
4v4
I think you go Freak.
Yeah.
Gridlock. Gridlock was a really
Gridlock?
good control map.
Arsenal. Arsenal's probably too big for 4s, but could probably still work.
I mean,
We got options for Treyarch maps. That's my point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
even Seaside 4v4 would play way better
Agreed.
than like
I
like
think
Checkmate.
I think Freak 4v4 would probably be the best. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Totally. I'm just saying.
Load up the files.
I don't want this map. I don't want this SnD map set to be it the whole year. We gotta get better than. We have so
think we're
many
gonna get better.
options. I
Yeah,
think so
I-
too. My point is, I don't want to see two majors seeing Garrison SnD. I'm going to rip my hair out. Oh, go bridge. Oh, you got to pick bridge. We win. Like, I'm so tired of it. Anyways, that was my little rant. Should we move on to other matches? Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the most surprising thing of the first week was what did Chris say the top two teams were last episode? He said that they were Optic and Empire. Then we watched them lose. Both of them lose back to back. So we saw Faze beat Optic. Then we saw what? Rokkr beat Empire. And I think, Chris, to your point and kind of all of our conversation a couple weeks ago, Rokkr is exactly who we thought they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they're a team that are going to be good at S&D, and their work ethic is always going to be the scary part about them. I feel like they have 4 well-rounded players. I mean, I gas these guys every single time I come on this podcast, but they have 4 well-rounded players, like personalities-wise, and just like good overall work ethic players that are going to be talented and they're going to put the effort into it. So even when they do suck this year, which every team goes through, no matter who you are, you're going to go through a slump. We did it last year. You know, even speaking for my team, like you're going to have a little bit of slump. They're going to have the right people and personnel, like in the coaching staff and all that, and the management, even like their ownership is really good. They have a lot of good things going for them. So I think you can see the way they played Dallas is going to be a team where when you play Minnesota, it's always going to be something where you don't want to go game 5 with them because they're really good at search and you're going to want to close them out as quick as possible. And if you don't, and you let that series kind of linger on to that game 5, it's going to be a pain in the ass to win. So they were kind of spot on to what we were saying. I think you're going to see a lot of that out of them. I know they got a 3-0 today, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing for them is just Hardpoint. They lost like 6 in a row. That's
the thing. It's like if their issue is Hardpoint with the talent that they have, they're going to be good enough to sneak it out a Hardpoint. They have the work ethic. They have the thought process. They have the leadership. They're just going to have to kind of break through it and kind of get those first couple game jitters out of there. Like you saw Priest did not play as well as he could have, and now he's playing a little bit better. Like you're going to see a lot of those kind of plays out of those guys. So I'm super excited to see how they progress through the year. And I wouldn't be shocked if they constantly have like this like upward slope of or upward incline of just doing well.
Exactly. And then they're in a really good position, especially right now, because we look at the heavy hitter teams, right? The elite teams, the elite couple. And you look at like Vito's, right? If they can just fine tune strategies against these specific elite teams, and whenever they match up against them, you have to figure out how to be good enough at a hard point for one series versus one particular team, and then you probably have a different strategy versus another team, right? So like if they're going to continue to probably slowly improve at hardpoint because that's got to be their main focus, right? We know this team's going to be solid 2-3-5, like you said already. They're probably going to this team is going to struggle. When the only time they're going to struggle, in my opinion, is if they lose like a tough control against like a good team. They need that map 3 to probably keep them in it. Elite teams probably should handle them pretty commonly in hardpoint, but how many teams are above them in hardpoint? 3, 4? It's not that many.
Yeah, talking like a skill wise, where like they're superstars.
Right. I don't know. I just feel like it's just tough, man, because I know I'm so biased for Priesta because of how good of friends I am with him. But man, when he heats up, he's on the level of all the S tier players in the world, and like by far, it's not even. So I feel like people forget about him, and it's just like I think when he's playing like at that, like I don't think they'll get handled as easily as we're making it seem in Hardpoint all the time by elite teams because of that. I just think overall, like I think like they're gonna have moments where if he is on like that and he takes them to that like next level for a hard point, I think they're gonna win that, and like then they're a really scary team. So I think they're gonna be more 50-50 sometimes, but I feel like if he gets comfortable in his element, even when we scrim them sometimes when like he, shows up and whatever he ate that day was the right food and he just starts frying, like it's hard to like he takes over maps. So I think they're gonna be really good. So we'll see. I think overall they're not gonna get it. Yeah. I don't think they're gonna get handled by elite teams that much.
Yeah.
Just what we thought. That's what we thought.
Yeah, 100%. No, they literally like confirmed just our entire conversation last episode, which is always great. But on the other side of it, I guess for Empire, I thought it was funny. Well, I guess we can have the same conversation sort of about Optic. They lost both searches, right? They look good in respawns, but I guess I think what stood out to me is like I guess what Shotzzy was MVP last year, like we expected that to continue. But then we talk all about Illy and Illy's gonna be the flex. We think it's like Illy's breakout year. And then somehow it's just like we just keep forgetting about like Hook. And dude, he just came out and like he has been destroying. I think he's like #1 overall in KD. In
He's
respawn specifically.
I've watched in this game.
He's been destroying people. And like it's weird to me that like I mean, we call him Hook the Nuke for a reason. Like ever since we saw him play when he was like 15 years old in AW, like we knew how good he was. But like, I just feel like maybe because he didn't win for so long and like he just gets lost in the shadows at times of who he's playing around because maybe last year the switch and rolls or whatever it is. I don't know why sometimes it's just like I get slapped in the face with oh yeah, Hook's God.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think it's going to probably take them a little bit of time. This team has got to get a lot better at SnD. I think there was times throughout the Modern Warfare season where they didn't look extremely elite in SnD, but as the year went on, especially towards Champs, I think Champs was a really good example that they spent a lot more time on it, refining strategies and things like that. So Empire's a team for me where I want to talk about this again in like 2 months, 3 months and see how they perform in probably like a more tense environment, I guess.
At least their searches were like close where it's like, all right, we need to make some minor improvements, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't like on Optic side where we're 6-0, 6-1, like what the shit?
Yeah.
Like I guess that's how I felt afterwards.
The only thing that surprised me in their searches was like there were times where like there was a 3v2 they threw. And I think it's because Shotzzy was having a slow game. It was like 5th or 6th round. He was 0-5, 0-6 and
that's
someone
right.
flies out of top green. I think, accuracy dot or actually kills him. And that play, he's like one shot, like absolute. And Shotzzy just doesn't fly at him. And that's sort of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You're challenging that.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not? Like, you're challenging that. Like, so.
Was that the Garrison? That was a Garrison map?
Yeah, that was the Garrison. Like, there was like some scenarios.
2 for accuracy and 2 for attach where they got like doubles with no trade, if I remember right. It was like 2 rounds.
And I don't want to say it was a pressure thing, obviously, but maybe that's sort of the repetition thing we're talking about. And I also think it's a thing where we talk about a lot in search. Like finding that first kill is important because it is. Like sometimes in search, you do everything and nothing goes your way. And then you're like, I mean, well, we saw Scum go in 6. Like there's times you're 0-5, you're hitting the backboard. You're like, shit, I really got to find that kill, bro. Like I could not put that donut up. And I don't know. You just don't do the simple things that Like, I think if we run that back 100 times, Shotzzy challenges that 98 times. Like, just some small things that really stood out for me, which I didn't expect because like those 3 players, that young core has been really good at search. Like, they've always been playing 3v3s, and maybe there was a little bit of slacking off potentially, whatever it may be. Or that calm just needs to be like, maybe that's the difference of having Clay on the team and not having the Clay on the team. I feel like he'd probably be like, challenge, like hit it, like go, that was the only thing that really stood out to me besides
that or Rokkr's just elite, right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no.
Rokkr's good. Yeah.
I just feel it's not like a pressure thing. So like, this isn't supposed to be worded that way, but just like when we played Florida in that exhibition match, yeah, there was no pressure. It was practice. It was glorified practice. But you saw how terrible we played. And like, you can even watch our control that day and see how slow and scared we played at the end of some of them when we had full advantage. We weren't taking advantage of our kills. It's not like a pressure thing, But I just think being in that environment where there's just a little bit more on the line than a scrim, you have 50,000 people watching at the exhibition match at the time, 100,000 people watching this weekend when you're like Dallas was playing. It's a little bit different, and it's not like they're crumbling under pressure. It's just like not being in that like environment as often, and it's the same thing. I think with those reps, 2-3 months from now, I think you'll never see that happen again. Like mistakes like that, and there'll be other mistakes that come up for every team. So I just think it's kind of shaking off the rust a little bit for all teams.
Yeah, for
including
both of these teams, for
every
the
team,
top two, it's like, all right,
Every
it's a
team.
wake up call, right?
Mhm.
Like back to work. And I think what we saw a lot with last year with Dallas too is they're a team when I think we saw it in like the finals last year with Faze. Like they really work off preparation. When there's more that they can study and Ray and Crim and they can look at and what was the different, like more repetitions, like that, they're very good at adjusting their game. We saw it a lot last year. They prepped a lot for matches that they had a lot of time to get ready for, and that's when they were at their strongest.
They look different at
last
champs,
year.
dude. They look different.
100%. Right, that time frame to where they can get ready, right in their head, sort of what are our vetoes going to be like? How do we play the vetoes at like their, we'll see come major time when they have a good idea of what they're going to be doing and who they're going to be going up against.
Yeah, to go on top of that, like the last thing I'll say about Empire, and I guess, this is kind of like common sense for any good team. So, but like any team like Empire, but them specifically, the work ethic and their coach and Crim6 being probably the best leader in Call of Duty in the sense of like wins and all that, like one of the best leaders of all time, or like one of the most motivated. It's like, they changed their game. They're not a team like shut down. Like they learn from their losses and they have like really, really good attitudes. Like the 3 young players on their team, like they have really good attitudes. They play the challenges. You see, like I think I was watching Clayster stream probably like 2 weeks ago, and he was playing with Illy in like random 4v4 challenges, like with a bunch of other players, like just like kind of throwing some money on the line. You're gonna see a lot of those guys
reps,
constantly
man.
play.
Yep.
And I think they all have the mentality of learning through losing. Like, learn like and doing all that. So like those losses aren't something to overreact about, kind of what we brought up in the beginning of the year, beginning of this podcast. And I think teams like them are the reason why they're so good is because of their mentality and the way they approach the game, just overall, like just the way they approach practicing and like the game and stuff. Like you don't see them kind of ever really whine about stuff and kind of shut down. That's usually just like, all right, we suck at this. We're going to change this. And they're good at actually executing that change.
Well, that was a mindset thing last year, and they still have it.
Yeah, but that's the most important thing in Call of Duty, and I don't think you can
culture
argue
thing.
I don't think you can argue otherwise. I think that is the most important thing for anything.
It's a big
Maybe
law,
not reading some tweets today laughing, but it's a mindset thing.
Yeah. No, dude, some of the, if I see, we'll touch on this really briefly, but I'm so tired of whoever it was, Octane, and everyone got in the mix. I'm so tired every year of reading every match is a coin flip and there's no skill gap. Like when it went to jet packs, there was no skill gap because there was jet packs. We went to 5v5, there was no skill gap because it was 5v5. We go back to 4v4 and boots, now there's no skill gap because of slide canceling this and that. And the shooting's too easy. Guess what? Shooting's always been easy in Call of Duty.
Yep.
It has. Sorry to break that to anybody. Do I agree with like slide canceling and stuff? Yes, but like there is a skill gap somehow, despite all the things we've had in this game. At one point, you could float and go invisible. The best teams end up winning. I'm just sick of seeing that shit. Like
Well,
I get it.
I get sick of it too. Everyone's so nice all the time.
It's just every year.
It's like
every
a cop
single
out.
fucking year. It's a coin flip. It's a 50-50. Every match is a 50-50. No,
Like,
it's
no,
fucking
they're not, dude.
No, it's not.
The top 4 teams are gonna have a way better record than everyone else, like usual. Like what?
I get it. I know there's frustrating mechanics, and I know there's some stuff that feels like a little bit more RNG or lucky, or there's some stuff that can improve. I get that, but I don't know why. It just triggered me today seeing like so many people say that. Like, it's 50-50. It's a coin flip.
I didn't see anything you're talking about, to be honest. I haven't really been on Twitter all day, so
basically just like the same things, like
the same shit every goddamn year.
I can imagine whatever it was. I mean, I don't care who said it or whatever it was, but I just feel like in any professional sporting environment, like like there's only how many players in this league? Was it 48 or something?
Skill gap and everything's gonna get really close.
There's always gonna the worst team is always gonna be able to beat the best team in the sense of like with the 4v4 switch. We talked about that. So the skill gap is definitely smaller, but like that's just you taking the best players in the entire world and throwing them into a pit and saying, all right, like here you go, like here's your teams, play against each other and like practice and go hard. So like I definitely see that being a thing. but I feel like that's not like fair to complain about because like the whole thing of I mean, I think the skill gap, a huge skill gap in like teams is like attitude and mentality and culture shifts. What I just said, like I think that's huge between like a lot of the teams and having that, like that was a huge issue that we had last year. But I mean, even last year though, like MW, some of the bottom teams were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like they didn't like I wouldn't say they stood a chance against Empire when they played them.
No
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mean to like
But
go on a big
but
rant there.
there
I
could
just like
be
I
of
hate
course,
it. It's
there's
just
things
sick
that
of
can
reading
be
that.
like to go on the other side of like bringing back the player in me, the guns are very easy to shoot, of course, like,
Dude,
their
but
mechanics are annoying,
Yeah.
but, like, I definitely feel, and I don't think you can argue otherwise with coaching staffs and preparation and that stuff, like, I honestly think, like, what sets most teams apart are, like, mentality, like, I'm a huge fan of Empire. We like, from their coach to their players, like, I feel like those guys are always grinding and trying to get better
control
and
what you
doing
can
that. Yeah,
control.
that's
It's
what I mean, like,
plain and
control what
simple.
yeah, I don't know. I feel
Control
like
Like,
what
that's kinda
you want to
unfair.
call it, but
I
there's a
didn't
gap.
see any of the tweets or not, but
Some there's
there's definitely a way
some
to separate yourself from the rest. I don't think you can
everybody
argue that.
wishes there were some changes and this and that, but control what you control. If someone asks for some feedback, you give the feedback, you move on. It's you know what? You want to build a game, learn how to code a game, go build it. Until then, just do what you got to do.
Know
You
how to
get
play
paid.
it.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
paid. Play the game.
No, there's definitely ways to separate yourself, plain and simple, like, from, like, the other players. You can't argue that. Of course, things can be better and worse, but
Oh,
yeah. Actually,
well,
yeah, that's so funny. I haven't seen
what
anything. I'll go back and read up on
what
that.
did well, I think it was Octane's tweet that kind of started it all. He has tweeted basically every match this year is going to be a coin flip, and then it led to this whole fucking rabbit hole of just people being like, "Yeah, there's no skill gap in this game," and blah blah blah.
Well, I mean,
Anyway,
you can just the last thing I'll say on this, I feel like if you go to any coaching staff or analyst or whoever the hell it is for, like, each team and look at scrims, if there's no skill gap, it would be 50-50, right? Like, when like, map counts and stuff for the most part, like, I feel like that's just not how it is between them at
no, of
all.
course it's not how it is. That's kind
Yeah,
of my
so, like,
point. But
I
what
feel like that argument's just not
real quick though, one thing on the last match I want to mention though is like Faze. There is a kind of a big difference here though in these losses because I know we've only touched on 2 matches. We have a lot more to go through, but like Faze losing to Optic or Optic losing to Faze isn't the biggest deal in the sense of
not
like
at all.
yes, okay, it was the battle for the #1 spot, but you're losing to like the #2 team, you would say. But like the Rokkr win over Dallas, I think is a little bit more massive because you still have Thieves in that group too.
Yep.
So like if you're Empire now, like. And maybe they don't care that much if they're second or third. We don't know how it's going to play out, but like it comes a little bit more interesting for them seed wise at least. Like if Rokkr's gonna play well, if Thieves keep rolling, like Empire, a team that I think most of us thought would probably be the first seed, like they might suddenly be the third. Or
Well,
something.
they still have to play New York, and New York's looking pretty darn
Yeah.
good, which
Yeah.
is our next match.
Nice
Even if you
segue,
want to
Joe.
talk about that one.
Nice. Let's go.
Or
LA versus New York. It was a 3-0, but I need you guys to look at this and see how close it really was.
So close, bro.
So damn close. So here's the match breakdown right here. Once again, quick shout out to breakingpoint.gg. If you guys want to follow along on the website, it has all the match archives. You guys can follow along during Super Week as well. But this is the match that happened in the first week of matches. New York, they got 3-0'd, but look at these matches. This hardpoint was 241 to 250, 5-6 SnD, and 2-3 for Control on the side of Thieves, able to clutch that one. So I thought this would be, I guess it was one-sided when you look at the 3-0, right? But New York put up a really, really good showing. We talked about New York coming into it, probably being less prepared than some of the other teams going into it, right? And I feel like New York, especially after seeing how they played today, they seem to be improving at a pretty rapid pace. They look good.
I thought Thieves were gonna blow them out.
Yeah, so did I.
Yes, they got the 3-0, but like it was interesting today. I woke up and I said, we did our predictions. I did mine at like 2 a.m. And I said to Jill, I was like, yo, we might have some 3-0s on the board today. And I was thinking New York and I picked London. I don't even know how I did that. I must have been blasted. I don't know what I was doing, but yeah, I mean, Joe, New York, what was the scene? Like 13-1 in search today? Like he's having big plays. Like Clay's
team is
stepping up,
playing really well. Which I also put a tweet in here, and it's something we could talk about too. I think it's pretty interesting. It's about Hydra and sort of his, visa issues, and Clay was just like, we have a team. So I don't know if that means if they can maybe based off scrims, they're playing at a really high level. Asim has been frying. He played really, really well. Diamond Con has sort of fit in, and I believe Hydra. I don't. I don't know if he's supposed to start over Asim or I don't exactly know what would work, but they lost a really close match. They won today, and I know we have the Dallas New York match. Like, I'm Dallas. I'm also worried about New York because they could slip in the top 3 the way they're looking. It just feels like they're on point. Like, they're playing really, really well. So I think when we cast the LA Thieves game, we were kind of like, this isn't good if you're a Thieves fan. But now we're kind of like, maybe the Subliners have just. I mean, when you talk about Hydra, when you talk about Zuma not being able to play, they have these are some damn good results considering what they've had to do with their roster.
Did you guys listen to Clay's interview after their match today about how he like freaked out at his team? Was it yesterday or the day before?
Yeah.
They weren't doing well in practice, making the same mistakes over again. Like, again, we talk about the whole like vet and then newer player dynamic. I feel like that's, it's a perfect example of that, right? I feel like some of the younger players, if I had to guess, they're probably bullshitting sometimes. They hop on, they're playing to play, they're going through the motions. You kind of lose sight of what your goal is on the map sometimes when you're just sitting there scrimming day in and day out. You need someone like that that's thinking at a higher level and be like, bro, wake the fuck up. You need that. You need to get smacked in the face a little bit and someone call you out on your shit, because if no one holds you accountable, you're going to sit there and be average the entire time. So,
and I love that, by the way. Like, I know Clay, you heard the interview. He was a little, I think he was more upset about the timing of it, like right before the match. And I think he maybe he internally thought it just didn't make him look very good. But like, I thought that whole sequence was great. Like, you get to hear him as he's frustrated with the team after a really tight 3-0 loss and like get into his team, which I mean, I know some people get uncomfortable with that stuff, but I love it. That is fucking content. And hearing the passion in that and how upset he was that they lost, like, I thought that was gold. And then the fact that like he got to like kind of air his grievances afterwards in the interview and just like straight was asked about it, and he sort of gave like a big FU to the league with the fact that they posted that. Like, I thought that whole like sequence was just content gold. And I know some people like it rubs them wrong, but dude, I love that shit. Like, it was great. Like, I don't know, like I think some will view that as like toxic or rage, but I guess I don't.
Depends
like,
how you do it.
that is a vet. That is one of the winningest players ever. Like,
toxic or rage from at a Clay.
Yeah. Like, I thought, but I mean, I don't know. I just saw some tweets going around that some people were like upset about how that all went down. But like, I just thought that was the whole circle of it was great content.
I mean, it's only toxic if you do that and lose. If you do that and win, you're a great leader, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. If you scream at everybody and you win, oh, that guy's really motivating. And then if you scream at some people and you lose, oh, that guy's the worst. It's like, there's times to react like that, and then there's times to not, and every good leader does that. Like, there's time where you're almost gonna have to like get respect back and make sure people aren't slacking off too much, right? And you kind of snap. Sometimes you step over the line and go too far, but like, then you kind of have the talk between your teams. Like, that's just competitive nature. If you can't get yelled at in anything in your life, competitive wise, like if that Clayster thing were to make you shut down for more than like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be like,
you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. That'd be like me being in my position. Man. If I couldn't handle like social media, like if I couldn't handle someone talking trash on social media in my position, like, I'm in the wrong line of work.
Well,
like, you just can't.
You're on the same team for a reason. Yeah, you're on the same team for a reason. He's not yelling at you because he doesn't like you. He's yelling at you because he wants you to to be better. It's the same thing when people talk about Slasher.
Yeah.
It's like everyone gets mad about Slasher. It's like,
my favorite was Ace and Krim would say they're gonna fist fight each other. We get on for scrims the next day like nothing happened.
How much to pay for that? How do we make that happen? I am down to watch
that would be a
please.
pay-per-view I would subscribe to instantly.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I always thought about a show idea I had. I wish we had like the ability to do it somehow. But what was the old thing that was on like MTV? The one where they were like the claymation thing, where they'd thought, we're going back. You'd have to be old. But it was Celebrity Deathmatch.
I remember Celebrity Deathmatch. Yep, I remember that.
It was messed up
like that. But we did it with like Call of Duty matchup. And like, yeah, granted, that stuff got real messed up. It did get like real messed up.
Nasty.
Like,
That stuff got nasty.
Dude, it did. I would love that so much if only I had the technical capability to do claymation.
Learn. Figure it out.
Yeah,
You're smart.
I got.
Yeah, learn.
You can do it.
Develop a game too while you're at it, dude. So it's
Clint, you got a
Pros we have.
lot on the to-do list. Stop playing Path of Exile so much.
I did. I think I'm done with that.
Yeah? Wow.
I'm almost done with season 3 of Expanse. I'm ready for a new project, so I guess it's claymation now. Okay.
Nice, dude. But anyways, back to the point. Crowder's totally right. If you can't
Come
handle,
on, man.
if you can't handle criticism like that, especially from someone like Clay, then like
And
what?
Well, there's obviously a line where if it's every single day, it's
Yeah,
like, dude,
right.
shut the hell up. Like,
yeah,
but,
it's like, man, this guy's a dick, dude. Like, I
yeah,
can't
but
believe
like,
this
dude,
guy.
of course there's a line to it. But like, if that makes you that upset and stuff, then
I
obviously
think it was
there's a
less
reason why
that.
you're not competing.
I
Like,
think
what?
I think that some people were upset that like I guess it was recorded, but like the way I see it, like that's not like
Oh well.
NFL recording in a locker room. Like that's the game just ended. That is like the passion of it. Like because if you film that, you're gonna catch not only the crazy passion moments like that from Clay from like an angry, he was upset, but like you're gonna catch the celebratory moments, the funny moments that are gonna happen. Like I don't know. I think a lot of cool funny moments are coming out of that.
I think it's the timing of when they like. I think it was the timing too.
Yeah, 100%. I get why Clay would be annoyed with it. Totally understand it.
Yeah,
but
no, I
like
get that.
as a viewer, personally, I love that shit. Like,
Yeah,
man,
I mean, I like
the
it
whole,
too,
like,
but
if someone throws a chair on the sidelines of a basketball court, or if someone is yelling at someone on the sidelines of a football field, like the cameras are on that person.
and that person
Like, I
probably
guess-
doesn't like to watch that footage back either.
Right. I
it's the
guess
same.
it's just one of those things. Like you just have to realize where you're kind of at the moment. I get it. Like I 100% get what he's trying to say. Like he doesn't want to air that to make. Right. I get it.
I get it.
But it's kind of like
humanizes our players. Like that's what adds depth to these players, so they're not just a picture on the camera. Like that is what. And even if maybe you don't like how it went down, like moments like that are why Clay is Clay, and Clay is one of the most popular people in esports history. Like Clay is Clay.
X.
Like So I don't know.
and it's just like, I think everyone will just have to know at that point, like, kind of what we said. Like, it's not like the cameras are in the locker room. If you want to do that, like, he'll just have to wait a few minutes. If he doesn't want to have it happen again,
yeah,
just what it is.
Thought it was. I don't know. I just thought there's a lot of differing opinions. I just loved it. I loved it. It's good.
I think we need more of it. To be honest with you, I like to. I like
the more
more
we should be
personality.
blurring lines.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't need to be like the because they'll do stuff if you've seen like NFL film stuff or like any behind the scene comm stuff. Like there's been some crazy comms of like Brady being pissed off or Rodgers yelling at his O-line. Like you've seen some really like cool stuff when they're pissed off.
Oh, Clay's in here, perfect. We can ask him.
But I think the further we can blur the line and like we're video games, man. We should be having some fun. We should be showing more personality, like with the bleeping out of like swearing, like I don't know. I guess I just feel like we should be blurring lines and having some fun with the
Clay said
craziness of it.
Here's the thing. Clay said they didn't even ask us. If they'd asked me, that's one thing. To plan something a week ahead of time and not even consult us is kind of strange. See, here's the problem. Whatever agreement likeliness thing that you signed probably gave them the rights to do that at any given time.
I get what Clay's saying, though.
But
I get it.
They
And,
should
like,
still. So I'm being devil's advocate right now.
Yeah,
I agree with Clay in the fact that don't be a dickhead and ask. Like, let them know.
Like,
give them some sort of. So like I
think this moment will probably be a learning lesson for both sides, and it'll improve. But I just personally thought that was great fucking TV.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's
like
super cool. The personality comes out too,
if it's
but
that soon after. But I see what he said. He said to the camo yelling at me after when the audio is fine. Spectators can see us at lands being upset, but then to give them the comms. Okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, the comms.
The comms were just so good. They were so good though.
Makes sense.
They were so good, Clay. I loved it.
But I also, I mean, there's both sides to it. There's the player side and the
give them a heads up.
Like this is great content, but it's just what it is.
Whoever's producing that on the league side is doing a good job, but in Clay's defense too, like
I get it. I totally get both sides, but
it's more like hey, we kind of want to throw this up, but we know this is an intimate moment, like a serious moment. You could with that, do you want something cut out of it? Makes sense.
Clay said, but for something that could affect my image, I like to be consulted. Yeah, for sure. because you could have said Clay could have said some bullshit, and if the match they throw it up,
but then
they probably wouldn't put on the stream. But still, like
I guess I know from Joe and I's side, like we know the people that we work with on the production side are very intelligent. They've worked on things much crazier than the CDL. So I guess from my side, I trust their judgment, so it's not as much of a concern, I suppose. But I can get it from like Clay's POV. I think that whole sequence though of like the showing Clay and like whatever you want to call it, passion, rage, anger, like whatever towards his teammates, and then the fact that he got to air it out again with the interview and like that whole cycle of it all. Like I don't think it made him look bad. I think it was awesome. I think the whole thing. He basically said "F you to the league." I thought it was great.
Right.
I thought the whole thing was
the interview afterwards. It comes off pretty badass for sure.
Yeah.
Like I thought the league's stupid for doing that. Everyone's gonna be like, all right, bet.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, athletes roasting like refs. Like, I mean, that stuff happens. It happens all the time. Like, I mean, you see it now in the NBA. Like, the NBA players are like running this all-star game is dumb. Like, I don't get it. Like, so it's gonna happen. It's the thing that's gonna happen.
And nothing's gonna change unless people speak out. Clay's one of the better people to speak out on something like that. Do you think another player
have to happen? And unfortunately, Clay was just the first one that happened.
Unlucky, Clay. Unlucky.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next matchups. Florida. Oh no, what's going on with Florida? They're in trouble. Losses to the Ultra and Legion.
They lost to Legion today, right? That was
3-0.
So I don't think the Ultra loss was that shocking. Ultra's been looking really good.
Yeah,
I was pretty shocked about the loss today. Legion looked nice, but is that a matter of Florida not being too great at respawn? Clint, you kind of brought up the SnD stats where Awakening still putting up good stat lines.
The two are wild. Like the two that I've watched, like actually watched, are wild. Like literally 8-2 and like First Bloods, and you're just losing searches. So like something's going on there. But like just overall bigger picture, I guess it doesn't seem like they're great at anything.
Well, they also went to game 5 with Gorillas too. Like
yeah. Like they're not. Well, they don't have like a. Okay, so we're talking about like let's say a Rokkr, who you said like over 2-3-5, or Faze are pretty solid at everything. Optic has been really good at respawns. Like there's just nothing right now that I guess I feel like Mutineers are like is their thing. I guess they just seem like okay at everything. Like they're not like a really good search team. They're not like a really good hardpoint team. Like what? How do you win if you're not at least locking down one side of it, I guess?
Well, I think what we talked about was we knew Awakening and Skies were really good search players based off last year.
Sure.
And getting 8-2, and we just sort of talked about, we thought that those two should be able to lead Neptune, and Slat has never historically been a great search player. But Neptune being new, right, that is sort of the hardest game mode to learn. It's, especially coming from like Halo where you're not playing a search type mode. We figured those two guys would kind of get them on the page, and maybe there isn't that vocal person that they sort of need.
Yeah. Wait, TeeP, are you on the breakingpoint.gg site? You can show the stream.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and go to stats and go to players and just look at SnD side.
Stats, players.
I'm actually here.
Look at the SnD one.
SnD KD leaders. Display capture.
Look at KD leader. Look at KPR leader. Look at First Blood leader. What do you see?
It's Awakening for all three.
Yes. Like,
wow.
yeah. And like if that's the thing, if you have, I guess I feel like if you have a guy that is leading in every possible statistical category in search and destroy, and you're having numbers at all times, like something is fucked.
Right.
Well,
okay. Go, Crowder.
It just goes back to the fact that it's like the 3v3 and 2v2 situations, and then 4v3s and like executing off the First Blood. But that's nothing to be honest. That's like nothing to overreact about right now. Like they might not look great at anything currently, like what you were just saying.
Early, though. It's early,
numbers. It's really early, and they have plenty of time.
I think though,
use it. Like I wouldn't overreact. I mean, I would overreact if they see what's going on and obviously not like practice it. But I think they're completely fine still. Like, of course, they're in a little weird of a spot, but
them getting 3-0 smoked is worrisome though. Against Legion, I mean,
I'm talking search stats. I'm not talking.
Oh, you're talking search. Got it.
Oh, okay.
If your search stat is 8-2 in First Bloods and whatnot and all that, and you're losing most of the rounds, that's not something to look at and freak out and be like,
"Oh my god!" There's a ton to learn off of.
That's something to be like, "Yo, we got the first step down pretty
step
fucking
one,
well.
check.
This is exactly what we want to do." now let's just tighten it up a little bit. And if you can do that, you're already halfway there. So it's not that big of a deal. We had that issue too. I'm pretty sure we had a lot of first bloods last year when we went through a little slump and search where like a BZ would get a first blood and we'd lose half the rounds. That's not like, oh, we suck at search. That's like, all right, let's stop doing that and let's try and figure out like ways to get him alive and all that.
I feel like a lot of those were traded. Like I feel like a lot of those were traded, but like when Joe and I were watching Miami, I guess the reason it worried me so much is Awakening was getting a clean pick. And like they were having a clean 4v8 trade, not like a first blood in a trade.
So that's even better than the situation my team was in because
I guess that's true. But also looks worse right now.
In the round, all they have to do now is win it. So, okay, figure it out. What are we gonna do? All right, we're getting this first blood, and then like this person's pushing by himself and not making team play, or we're not having the right communication. That stuff is probably the easiest of fixes for any team. I think that's better than being stuck in like Seattle's shoes last year, where they didn't get first bloods, they didn't do anything right in search.
Yeah, I guess at least you're doing something right.
And one thing I want to break down really quickly, like with these SnD stats too, like we've talked up stats before, and stats can be kind of misleading, right? You can play a certain way to manipulate these two right here, your kills per round and your SnD KD as a whole, right? So if these two were high and his first blood was down in the dumps, then you're like, he's baiting the hell out of his first guy and he's getting killed. But like you said, he's getting picks, right? He's got the highest first blood leader. His kill per rounds are 1.3. So like if you do the math on that,
13-5 with the most first bloods, 11-4 with the most first bloods. Like he is dominating the map, and they're losing
because we've seen in history where certain guys on the map, you're like, go do your
talking about Pat.
I mean,
talk about it.
At times, yeah. I'm like, our strats, what?
Mr. Island.
I'm like, you want me to go B on Sav again?
Krim is Mr. Island. I feel like every year I've cast him, he's always Mr.
I'm gonna do my thing. Island last year a lot too. But there's always plays like those island players are just good at making like the right decisions, like when the late flank and stuff. That's always something that
Anyways,
funny,
back to the point, dude. I'm going logs. Oh, someone's there to trade me. All right, cool. I'm going first. Sick, dude. Like on freight over and over again. Anyways,
Florida's in trouble.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of scared for them too. It is still early, but like the series today scares me because. But I also don't want to take it away because like Scraps is a great player and he put up a banger of a series today.
Like him and Aqua.
Him and Aqua.
Aqua, please, because that guy has been playing phenomenal. Phenomenal.
That's what Joe and I were laughing about. It's like when this team got announced, I feel like most people were like, this team sucks. But it was like, all right, so Scraps has been a freak at times he wants to. Aqua, I mean, this guy's been to how many like champs finals? He has been one of the top ARs in the world. I guess he's had a tough stretch, but like Aqua, maybe he's not always been known for like his in-game decision making, but like he can be a freak of nature on the map. Fire has been one of the most hyped up young players. Like there are some pieces there where like I don't know what the comms are like at all times. I don't even know if they know what they're doing half the time. But like if they're on point, do I think they could come out and fry? Yeah, I guess. I underestimated them too, but like there's a lot of talent there.
And to give them that too, I mean, their coaching staff, I mean, they picked up Theory, right? So it's like they have someone too who knows a lot about Call of Duty. Theory's been around for a very long time. I feel like he doesn't get talked about like enough. Like with this team, like he's been around for a long time. He had a really good stretch in World War II towards the end of his career. Like he knows what he's doing. He was a good teammate. Like he knew how to play. Like, and I think him being in that like coaching role can really be awesome. I have no idea if that's true or not because I haven't really talked to him or that team too much, but I think having him as well as like some of those players with like good talent around them is good. And I think Classic's like a good veteran player that knows how to win. He knows what to do as a team. He does not care about if he's doing well or not statistically. He just knows that he's going to go the right way at the right time.
He's kind of like a Beezy, dude. Like you just know he's going to be there. And if he's winning 60% of your gunfights, like you're just like, this guy is having us.
My
bro.
point is like if Classic, like the Classic was probably at his peak when he was like weird. Infinite Warfare, and he was like weirdly the best ERAD player for like 3 months. You guys remember that?
Entry guy,
I don't think you can even argue that he wasn't a top 10 player in IW.
Oh, he was incredible. So he
top 5 for a little bit. Yeah.
So this Paris team, he's the guy for me that gets them over, in the top half, right? If he's able to put together a solid year, I think you have plenty of talent behind him, right? If Classic can get that, an entry-ish sub around like a decent 0.9 KD, that's what you need out of him consistently, right? And be able to put like high pressure. Clint, what are you laughing at?
No, just
you giggling.
I'm sorry, dude, what Joe said about comparing to a BZ, because there was a time, was it last year or the year before, we were commentating Classic in a search, and like we were on him a couple rounds in a row, and that guy will literally, he just sprints until he gets a gunfight. Like that, he just literally would not stop running until he took a gunfight. That's all he did. But like,
He's been
that's how I
doing that
feel.
since Call of Duty 4 when I
know,
was
like,
playing
dude,
some
we just
videos
say
with him.
sometimes when I cast him, I
Yeah,
just
but if
crack
he's
up, 'cause,
gunning
like,
your shit,
Yeah,
you're
I know,
done.
I know, I
Yeah,
know, but like,
right.
You lose.
It's
just
so
what it
funny when
is.
you're watching, because there's no like shoulder, there's no like
goes.
stutter step
Just
or L
busts out the
trigger.
door and here we go, baby. Yeah, like in his mind, he literally sees the door close in MW and says, "All right, here we go, bang," and just goes
Yeah.
out.
That was
And
me and Wage's problem.
Yeah.
Doors closed. I'm going through
And
the
those
door.
players
I'm
are
going through it.
necessary. Those players are absolutely necessary.
I get it. I get it. It's just, dude, it
Yeah.
makes me laugh so much sometimes when I watch it, because it's like, dude,
Well,
they're
my-
just going until they're fighting. Like,
My
that's just
favorite
what
quote
it is.
from him, I think it was like during his peak in Infinite Warfare, and I was currently not playing at the time. And I think someone was like, someone asked, there was like a 10s lobby or an 8s lobby back then, and someone was like, like who wouldn't you want to be against in like a 1v1 clutch for a win or something? And someone said him at the time, and like he laughed and he goes, I wouldn't want to be against me either because I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like that if
Those are
that
scary
doesn't
players
explain-
like that, yeah.
that does not explain him in a nutshell. Like he just goes, man. He doesn't even know what his next step is. He's just going. And
But like
that
he's
is-
the guy you want, bro. Like it won't matter if you're down like 0-4 in a search and someone's like, what should we do? And your in-game leader's like, yo, Nick, run up the middle of the map. He's like, all right, yeah. I'm like, dude, like
Dude, no
this is what
hesitation.
you want, bro. Like,
Um,
cool. Like I
love him.
got you, dude.
Wait,
Just
is
hit
it today's birthday?
No.
It's his birthday,
Nick's
right? Whose
birthday?
birthday was it? Wait, whose
No.
birthday was it?
Is
No,
not-
someone was trolling. Someone
Oh,
was
I
trolling.
thought they were saying something about birthday on broadcast. I heard it. They said like
You just
someone farted
making
on their
shit up?
birthday. Did I just make that up entirely? I swear
She
they
knows
said that on
trolling.
broadcast.
She knows
Trolled, yeah.
trolling you.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say it's not Nick's birthday. It is.
Oh,
definitely-
so no, well, they definitely mentioned something on broadcast. Somebody farted on their birthday. I thought they were talking about Nick. So okay.
Nah, but if he's gunning you, bro, you'd lose. It's just it. Like at the highest, the amount of small things we talk about that make you like such a great player, he just neutralizes that by sprinting. And if you get gunned, you lose. Like he
Yeah.
takes like those little things, like he almost takes it out of equation.
It's so funny, bro. I just
He
do it.
just he takes it out of the equation. And he's just like, if I win this
Oh.
1v1, it doesn't really matter if I rotate. Like it just does it. Like obviously he knows what he's doing and he's trying to manipulate.
He's a very
things and
smart
play the
player.
right.
But
Yes.
But he genuinely
he
does
gets
not
it.
care about doing good or bad or anything. He just cares about winning. And if you tell him, hey, it's 5-5, champs finals, and I want you to run down the street that everyone looks at, like for example, like Arklov
Plant the
TKA,
bomb.
I want you to run down the trench. No smoke. Just run down it and trust me to look over you. He's not going to be like, nah. He's like, all right, bet, let's go. And he's just going to take it and go for it. And like that helps you with people. Honestly, the dynamic between like him and Aqua is probably really good. To have someone like Aqua who is a little bit more slow paced, so he's going to look over you. He's got a really good gun skill to him, and he's like a solid AR. Like having someone that's like that for him also probably helps him do really good. I mean, you're seeing Aqua do really good. I think it's probably a product.
Gotta
of
help
having-
scraps too. I mean,
Yeah,
someone's
and-
always
Oh,
in
yeah.
front of
Yeah.
them, right? Like,
and like that's going to help those players play to the talent that they have, and that's going to help them be a team. So we might see a pretty good run out of them. I would hope to see it, but we'll kind of have to wait and see there.
Nah, it's all a coin flip, dude.
You're so annoying. Let's look at standings. We've seen half of the super, I guess not quite half, but we've seen some of the matches for Super Week go down so far. We're gonna do a quick update of the standings for you guys as we lead up towards the first major. Bang, standings right there. You guys can see the CDL points breakdown, the wins and losses, everything right there. I'll break it up into the groups real quick right here too. You got Faze at top of Group B at 3-0 right now, and kind of an even split throughout the bottom part of the table there. Thieves on the other side in Group A, 2-0. Rokkr at 2-1, so really big match for them that they were able to win, or the past couple matches, to be honest. And then you see Empire and New York sort of middle of the pack right there too. So just talking implications of some of the matches that we've seen recently, I feel like New York's match was pretty big today. And it was more of like a statement for them, right? Not only do they get a big win and lock down some CDL points, but the improvement and the fire that they seem to have that's kind of like started from Clay, right? Like that's huge, huge, huge. So just looking at some of the matches throughout the rest of the week, there's big implications on, what standings are going to be because your seed going into the major is super, super important. So I'm going to throw up really quickly the schedule, the matches that went down not only today and yesterday, but the matches you guys can check throughout the week. And then we can start breaking down the implications of some of these matches. You guys can break down, pick a match or whatever team you want to talk about. So Super Week schedule right here. Monday, yesterday, we saw these two matches go down. Honestly, I got bored watching them. I'm going to move on. The ones today, a bit more entertaining. Obviously, we saw the Paris Legion absolutely dominate Florida today, which is very unexpected. I did not think that was going to happen. New York looked really good versus London, and then Rokkr was able to close out just 3-0s across the board today. Pretty quick matchups. The rest of the week, obviously, you guys can see Wednesday matches starting at 3 p.m. Eastern every single day, even leading throughout the weekend. And if you guys have any particular matchups that you guys want to talk about or teams that need to have a big rest of the week into the weekend, what teams do you guys want to talk about?
I just want to, I guess, quickly touch on like tomorrow's matchup since we're leading into tomorrow's broadcast, or I guess we could just pick stuff to cover the whole 4 days, or I don't know how we want to do this.
Doesn't matter.
It's weird because we're doing it in the middle of the
tomorrow.
week. So
I'll start with tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think it's probably big for Optic and Ultra. I mean, one of those teams will be 1 and 2 tomorrow, and then you have Florida at 1 and 2. For one of those teams, I think that's a big match because Optic has Florida. They have Gorillas. Like they should be able to win both of those and get top 3. But if you lose that, like it just gets that sort of Optic Florida match at the end of the week could decide the 3-4 seed. And I guess sort of same thing with Ultra. If you lose, you have to basically win versus Paris, who seems to maybe be on a bit of a heater, and Gorillas, who I think we both know it could potentially be a tough team to beat. So that one decides a good amount because it feels like Faze is sort of en route to take the top of the group. But I think both Optic and Toronto want to guarantee like at least like a strong number 2 seed in their group.
I guess I think the other side of it is a little bit more intriguing to me with the other two matches, just because Ravens are 0-2 and Seattle's 1 and 2. So depending on how those go tomorrow, like you might be sort of with how Rokkr have looked, with how Subliners have looked, and Thieves and Empire, like you might be guaranteeing yourself a losers round start, basically, depending on how tomorrow goes. And like because it's Ravens versus Empire, and Seattle plays Thieves. So like more than likely those are both losses. So then it gets real mixy. Unless there's an upset. Like if one of those two teams can pull off an upset there, I guess I think they have a chance to avoid like starting in losers. But otherwise, Ravens or Seattle.
I mean, it has to be Seattle. It can't be Ravens. In my mind. I mean, you still have New York.
I think we're saying it could. Well, technically it could be, yes. In your
it could. I don't think so. I think what today's show is like New York is, New York's a really good team.
And Ravens are in a tough spot. Like obviously they're playing with a fill-in. They don't have Trey, which I think we all
which sucks. I really wish Trey was here because I have so much fun watching Dylan and Alex play. Like I really do. Like I think they are insane. But it's like it's so hard to it's got to be tough for them because it's like we have a fill-in and Trey's just over there, and it's got to suffer Trey because he's like, I want to help, and we know how good Trey can be. Like that's the other thing. Like think about what Trey did to London last year. Trey got them what? Like, we got them to London to a final last year.
When he came back to them, they started doing really well, right?
Like they were like a really tough team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sucks for London. It's like I think it's got to just be tough knowing what that core 4 can be. And then for Seattle, I don't know, dude. Flip a coin.
Yeah, flip a coin. I don't know who's gonna win. But no, they're
how many times did you make that stupid joke?
I guess it's not as interesting on that side. Like I mean, it's because they're probably both gonna lose to Empire and Thieves, but it's just like which of them maybe could avoid the last seed. But I think Joe's right. Like Ravens are probably gonna be the last seed just because not the predicament they're in. They're in a very tough spot, and I don't want to like give them an excuse exactly, because if you think of teams that have been put in crazy spots because of I mean so many different circumstances. You think we don't need to go into too much detail, but you think about with Mutineers to Subliners, like there are so many drastically different things that have gone on to make teams have to shift, and Ravens are one of them that has needed to. And if you look at Subliners, actually they're probably the only team that's really looking solid. Like Mutineers are struggling, Ravens are struggling. Is there anyone else that's like really having to make do with a crazy, like having to swap somebody in?
No, I don't think so.
Mainly those three, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's just you're in a tough spot. You are, but what they can do.
I can't wait for that Optic and Ultra match. I'm really.
It's a big one. Yeah.
I'm really curious to see if Optic, if they put up 2 stinker SnDs again potentially. That's like, it's very, very worrisome. Again, is Ultra going to be on the same level as Faze was in SnD? I would guess maybe not, but you never know. But
they beat Faze in SnD.
Yeah,
they
played well.
It's a good point.
They just lost all 3 respawns. They threw away map 1. They can't throw away a respawn versus Optic. I mean,
yeah.
It's a preview, but one of my keys to victory for Toronto tomorrow is get to game 5. I mean, as soon as you get to that game 5, it's sort of just like you put the pressure on them.
Yeah,
they're like, shit. Like we have to rely on a search. Like,
yeah, true.
Optic fans at home are thinking, well, this is tough. Like,
I think
you have to win a respawn
to see where they are in search as well.
100%.
Like, like I think this for people that like support Optic and want to and we're kind of having a little freak out after that map, which we were talking about. It's not a big deal. I just think right here is where you see like where they kind of stand in search. If they play well in search tomorrow, that's a good thing because Toronto's a really, really good search team.
Would they beat you 6-1, 6-2? What would they beat you, or no? Did I exaggerate that completely? It was 6-4? Okay.
It was 6-4, 6-3, but they started off 4-0.
Okay, I remember they were like, I remember it was like not.
It was raid. They were just flying.
It was raid, and they were playing extremely team-oriented aggressiveness. Like they were pushing together, and we were playing like morons and they were completely taking advantage of it. And then I think we won a few more rounds. It was like 6-3 or 6-4, but they looked good. They looked good at search, and I think Toronto is a pretty good search team on paper. So I think for Optic fans tomorrow, watching them play will be a big test to see how they are at search. So I'm excited to watch that match for sure.
It's a good tester for both teams because I really want to see how
Toronto's respawn.
Yeah,
right?
I want to see how Toronto can stack up on a hard point where you have to go blow for blow for them. Like, can they handle the muscle? Because like Optic's gonna just they slay so goddamn hard, right? Probably.
Oh,
I think
like Kleenex bands. Like, are you all right? Did Chris just hit puberty?
I think Kleenex and fucking Cammy are good. Oh my god, dude. All right. Well, I'm not talking no more. See, this is why I don't talk that. I'm done.
Been hanging out with Sim too much, bro.
I hate that guy, man. He's brought the worst out of me in so many different ways, dude. Whatever.
That's funny.
Throw it on the Reddit. Let's go for it.
Go ahead now.
Yeah.
Okay, so excited for that one, and then throwing up the schedule one more time just to look at some of the matches throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. Obviously, the last one on Sunday, we got Empire versus Thieves. That one's going to be a banger. Well, at least I hope so.
Well, Dallas, New York. I mean,
yeah,
because realistically, if Dallas loses that, New York plays Seattle. I guess New York has Thursday, Friday back-to-back is huge for them because you're fighting for top 3, right? You're fighting for that winner's bracket. There's a chance where, I mean, maybe Dallas doesn't get top 3 because they would have to beat New York and then would have to beat LA Thieves.
That's what I was saying. That Rokkr loss was such a big deal.
Wait, when do they play LA Thieves? Oh, they play on Sunday. Wow, that's so long from now.
But even if they beat LA Thieves, if they lose to New York on Friday, and New York wins tomorrow, if they win Thursday, there's a chance New York gets top 3 with Rokkr and LA Thieves. So,
and New York's feeling good after their win today. I mean,
100%.
Rokkr
and they've lost
too,
by what,
but
15 points or whatever against LA Thieves. Like you have to be feeling confident.
These two New York
that
matches
Thursday, Friday
are huge
back to back.
Totally.
Yeah, imagine Empire is like 4th seed. I mean, that'd be kind of wild.
That would be extremely wild. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I want to look forward to that Dallas spot. Bad. I want to watch that one.
I'm kind of excited to see if Paris can get something going, snowball off of this win today too. Like,
there's a lot of good storylines and matches to watch, but I want to watch that one bad now.
Because I I didn't really think that much of Paris, and I didn't want to talk down on their roster or anything. Like, it's filled with solid players. Can they put it together? Because when they first formed the roster, I'll be the one to say it, kind of random, kind of just like pieced together. It works. Like, if you look at their play styles and like the pace that each of these guys play at, it makes a lot of sense. Scraps coming out today and putting up a banger of a series like we know he can do. Like, he can take over, right? Especially in 4v4 environment. Aqua's known to have been, one of the top KD players for how many years now? Like, I don't know. It definitely.
Well, what was their other loss? What were their losses? They lost to Optic, and what was the other loss for Paris? They were both good lists, and this is a good team.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the other one
I
besides
thought they
Optic.
played pretty well against Optic.
Optic and
Was it Florida?
It was they lost 3-2 to Gorillas, so that one's kind of sucks.
Okay,
Oh,
that was not okay. That's not on the same level of losing to Optic. Okay, so they have what? They have a solid win, a loss that, I mean, losing to Optic's not that big a deal, and then one that maybe you should have won. Did that go like game 5 or anything? Was it
Yeah,
crazy?
it was game
Yeah, it
5.
went game 5. Okay.
And they lost the last
So yeah,
map 4-6.
I guess we kind of, I mean, just based off
Close.
of those three, I've got no goddamn idea how good Paris is.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know.
It's a
They can
tough
also
read.
just be that team that like comes out hot and is pretty good, and also can flop too. Like, we'll
Yeah.
see. But
If there's any like longevity there. True.
wait, also we haven't talked about the Thieves too much, but I wanted to highlight it a little bit. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, but TJ's been playing pretty well, right? Has TJ been playing pretty well? Do you
Yeah,
have-
they all
been doing
really
well
have.
so
There's
far, yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. Kenny like is standoutish in search, but besides
Joe-
that,
Joe and I had to go through. So until we have a lot of stats to like bring up, and like we know maps and like they do the key to victory stuff, and they come up with like, really cool points. But like, since there's not a lot of stats to go off, they just like asked Joe and I to do them. And like Joe and I were trying to do them for Thieves, and we are looking through. I was like, I've got no goddamn idea what to make keys to victory for them. Like, when I was going through the stats, like I was like, okay, they're all like, there wasn't really like any big standout thing. Like, they've all just been kind of playing well. They're just
yeah.
solid.
Well, your keys to victory, well, not for a match, but for the season, when we talked about it, like preseason Hardpoints, I just want to highlight, kind of give him credit. Like, we talked about TJ, needing to be TJ.
Yeah.
And do, coming back to that form. And we had like the whole talk about like when TJ's more comfortable, because like that Optic team last year was kind of a shit show with everything, like, Dashy being benched and people not getting along. I'm sure their practice sucked. I think TJ looks a lot more comfortable this year, and him being in that aspect and being the TJ like we all know, I think is really good for that team too. So definitely give him credit where it's due, because he was getting a little bit of doubt, but it's still early in the season. But I he's like my key player to watch all year for them. Like, I'm excited to
tomorrow's a
watch
big
them play.
test for. I think that's
Siege
one
is
of the
what
things.
makes them a contender, in my opinion.
yeah.
You know what
So
you're gonna get out of
I'm
Donnie, right?
excited to watch him. He's doing well.
Even being coach for that season with Tej, right? Like, he was the playmaker when he had a good tournament or something like that. Like, we looked disgusting. We had other tournaments where we didn't look disgusting at all, and a lot of it was like scrims leading up. Like, there was probably like one tournament where we went in and I was like, we're probably screwed. But the rest of them, like, we had decent scrims going in, and I was just like, sometimes, there were several players on the teams at time that were inconsistent, but like, he was our X factor. I think he is that guy for whatever team he's going to be on. He's got the talent, right? Can he be consistent?
He just, I don't know, dude. He just wastes up sometimes. I just think he just doesn't care, and that's the problem.
Yeah, he pissed me off.
Part of it probably applies to just that spot too. Like, we were talking about Classic, and we were talking about a BSB. Like, you play that entry, and it's like, when you're on, god damn, that position becomes a whole lot easier.
Yeah, but he's just a little different, dude.
I think so. But like, it doesn't help that you're playing.
I think when TJ is having more fun and playing like in a better environment during practice and stuff, I think he cares more, and I think he tries more.
True.
And I think that's like what I've seen from him through the years. And I think when he does care, he's really, really good. And I think him playing, I don't think he had his best year last year. I think we can all agree on that. And I think him being like in a different environment and having Cap as their coach and stuff, who's really close with TJ, I think that helps a lot. So, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're like, I'm curious to see how he plays this entire year. Obviously, we all know what he's capable of, and he's been doing really, really well. So he's been like probably my player to watch all year. I've been excited to watch.
I mean,
that.
the good thing is
I'm
like
happy that
what
he's doing
TeeP
well
said,
again.
like when they play the big matches, he will probably be like that guy. But like We talk about like them playing Seattle tomorrow. If he does have an off series, like they can still win, but it'll be closer. Like just
It's
what it is.
Can he get in the mindset of like there isn't a small match now? Like you play 5 matches and then you have a tournament. Like there isn't like I guess years in the past when we've had like I don't know, maybe a lot more matches or like double limb with people asking for quadruple limb. Like there were times where you could have a bit of a letdown, but like you just can't this year. Like
I don't think any team's gonna have that mindset, to be honest.
You can't.
I don't think a team with Slasher and Cap like in the same environment are ever going to be like, yeah, this match isn't that big of a deal. Or if that vibe even came out of in the air, I don't think
but I
anyone
feel
would.
like dude, I don't know, bro. I've teamed with some people, bro. Like it doesn't matter what you're telling them, bro. Like, just don't
Yeah, no,
sit
you're
there and
right,
It just
you're right.
doesn't matter. Like it's on
Maybe.
him. It really is. Like
It's gonna be tougher when you're playing maybe online too, but like this was a LAN
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I think
so, like,
I think
No,
that's
no,
the
no,
thing,
no.
too.
Teej would
Yeah.
get on for scrim sometimes and would be bullshitting. And I know he'd admit it too, dude. There's certain days where it just be like, what are we doing? It's just like, it wasn't only him too, right? But it's like, it probably happens to all players where you get on a certain day. Sometimes people are bullshitting, I just think
It happens to that's every team.
Yeah, and I feel like Teej is one of those players. If Thieves is going to win a tournament, Teej needs to be elite, and he needs to be an elite sort of entry guy, like we've seen him. Like, what was Teej's probably best game in recent time? It's got to be probably like World War II. That fool,
World War II,
dude, absolutely disgusting first blood percentage. I just remember like multiple times in London docks. It's just like different games, right? Years have passed, but we all know what the guy can do. If they're gonna win a tournament, it's gonna be him being an elite player. Simple.
Well, he could be a BC on the map or Maven on the map.
Yeah, right. You don't want to be Baldy. You don't want to be Baldy. You putting up some bangers on Warzone today, though. Not bad.
I played pretty well tonight. I put the sniper away for a little while.
By a banger, he got 18. He got an 18
kills for me multiple times.
Joe's face. Joe almost threw up.
I can't put up 30 like
Joe
you
needs
guys.
another drink after that.
I'm good with that.
Joe's not having
I
it.
put the sniper away.
I'm not having this Maven gas, dude. I'm not having it.
We had that 2-2 overs. You and I rolling
Joe,
on the map together. Where's that friendship and love from that?
I'm used to Baldy putting up 6 and being like, nah, I fucking sniped everybody. Today he was actually putting up double digits.
When he's back to it, bro, he's only on his second day in a row.
Yeah, I'm not giving this guy gas
him up.
He shows up
Wait,
into
a week?
at least, like 7 days, bro.
A week?
I can't stream tomorrow though. I really can't though. I have to. I'm on the analysis desk leading into the match. I came really early.
You're on the analysis desk?
That's what I said. Hey,
What
fuck
do
this
you
guy.
do?
They run out of money or something?
Yeah, maybe the CDL's broke. I don't know.
Why they put you on there?
I think because they planned to have a guest spot, like maybe Enable was, but since the Super Week thing, like I don't know. If they fill it in. Someone's going on there to talk to the analyst. But no, should I ever be an analyst? Fuck no. Joe's
Tomorrow is Wednesday, huh? Dude, we do cast tomorrow. All right, yeah.
Yeah, we cast.
I can't wait. I can't wait to listen to you guys. You're so talented.
Nah, but this guy still makes some. Dude, this guy, I just can't watch him in the clutch, bro. He just stresses me out. It's just what it is, dude. This guy just thinks differently.
If I pulled that one moment off, it would have been the nuttiest thing. And I was half asleep. Almost.
You're always half
asleep. It was just so dumb.
So dumb. My ego child 30 times, but almost won it. Damn.
There's these situations I just don't get in his head. Like it's just like run away and plate, and he's just like challenge.
The reason I brought up Baldashy in his Warzone form is we're gonna switch now to talking about Warzone. So you guys have listened to us talk recently on episodes about the whole cheater situation. Raven's been doing the ban waves. Wow, another one happened. What was it? Yesterday.
Yesterday.
We said I think we begged for. I think I specifically said I hope they can hit it every 2 weeks.
Well,
And
we
we
woke
felt
up and got smoked.
Yeah, we felt it.
We got thrown in the blender that day.
We got smoked.
Sally got
What
picked out of
about-
the helicopter.
It was about 3 days before that. So let's just for imaginary sake, but pretty close to it. Like around day 10, you start to feel after a ban wave, you start to feel like some questionable deaths where you're like, all right,
The lobby health.
maybe
Lobby
he
health,
was
you
full,
looked
maybe he was
Lobby
full of
health
shit.
too.
Then like day 11, lobby's getting torched. Okay, there was 1 to 2 just aim botters, clear aim botters. Day 13, it's like, okay, here we go again. Half our games have hackers. And like the next day, we woke up, we were in the blender, then bang, there was a shift. We just felt it, like literally. And this was before we knew they did a ban wave. So like they tweeted it after the fact, obviously. It's not completely lined up. Like we just felt the shift when the games completely changed. And then they tweeted they did one. It was about, I think, almost exactly 2 weeks. So props to them, man. If they can do that, and I've just got a couple days a month that are questionable, a couple days, I guess, every 2 weeks, like I'm good.
No, what they've been doing
every week.
recently,
Every
Yeah.
week.
I mean, I would love every week, but
what they've been
I
doing
can survive
recently
with what it
though
is.
has been, I don't know if it's because we were so used to how bad it truly was for that like couple month stretch, and now it's just like every once in a while you have those lobbies that don't die out. It feels so good, but I'm like completely fine with how it's been. Like I've been super
Yeah.
happy. I've been getting on in the morning, playing lobbies that are like fun. The end, because my favorite part about Warzone's the end game, and when you have lobbies that don't die out, doesn't matter if they're bot lobbies or not, just lobbies that don't die out right away. Those final circles with like 20, 30 people or like,
It's
20
insane.
people left are fun. That's like the
Yeah.
crazy
Shout out
mixy-
Mason, dude. Thank you for the
Yeah,
plastic
so
3 lobbies, dude. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
well,
Yeah.
that we all know that guy and what the lobbies he gets. But yeah, just in general, I think it's really nice. So I've been having a lot of fun with Warzone.
Every
And
week.
especially coming back with Mason. Yeah.
Listen, I love Raven. They're giving us a lot more communication. They're putting in a lot more effort.
Well, that's what we asked for too.
They're doing something. I appreciate that. But I logged on today before I hopped into your guys' party, and I played 3 solos, and I died to a level like 7 and a level 12 and a level something else. Like obviously new accounts, reloaded back up on the game. I watched a guy kill me, and I watched him rotate into Boneyard, and I watched him alt tab out of his game, stand there for a couple seconds because I was spectating him, and then he started playing. He was a really good player, and I think the guy's full of shit. And I need more. I need a little bit more. I want weekly. Oh,
Yeah,
we're not gonna
no,
get it. We're not gonna get it.
agree.
You know,
I agree.
it's
I
not
agree.
perfect. It's a lot better, but
Yeah.
we cannot downplay how horrible it was because it
Yeah.
was so bad.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
now it's in a manageable spot, right? So it's just like it's
This is
playable.
what we
why-
have to
It's
do.
playable.
I put it beyond manageable. See, I put it beyond manageable. I put it to it like this is
You think
to a
it's
spot
better?
where I can be happy streaming. I got to a point where I just didn't want to stream. I
Same.
didn't want to play Warzone. Like, I didn't want to play. So this is now to a point where like I don't know if it's just a few questionable deaths, a few days maybe with hackers. I'm good each month.
Yeah.
It just can't be what it was. Every single day I got on, you felt like you died to a hacker 8 to 10 times.
Yeah.
But like it, I don't know.
There would be
2
not-
weeks
when
is
I did
right
the night-
around.
Yeah, when I did night streams, there was probably I think I went 8 for 8, and like with blatant like aim botting, like there was nothing, like,
It
there
just
was, like,
can't be that. And I
yeah.
think if it's 2 weeks, maybe worst case scenario, you have a day of that. But I don't even think you have a day of that because I just don't think it gets back to the numbers where the population of hackers is high enough that we experience it at that volume. I think 2 weeks, I will be a happy person. But yes, to TeeP's point, if we can
Of
get it
course we
weekly
can
and I
get it
never have to
weekly.
feel it, yeah. I mean, the fast
But
thing is just do it
this
goddamn
is a
daily.
start,
But
This is a start because
yeah,
what I remember when we talked on this podcast probably a couple weeks ago, we talked about how we wanted our biggest thing, if I remember correctly, is we really wanted communication.
Yep.
Of hey, the stim glitch is here, we're fixing it in a couple days. Just to be told like, hey, we're doing this, like don't worry, like the communication of the ban waves, the communication that Raven's been doing, I think I don't know, like there was definitely a day or a switch where they decided like we're gonna kind of take this a little bit like of a step up and communicate a little bit more, tweet a little bit more, and also do like the ban waves and stuff. And I think that has been really good for me. Like I've been really happy with that. And that's step one. Of course, it could be better. Of course, it was a little bit worse. Yeah, but I've been very happy with the way they've stepped forward. Hopefully, this is just a step where they can continuously like make more and more progress.
people just want to
But
see
I've been pretty
progress.
happy.
Like,
Yeah.
people just want to see progress of some kind.
Well,
not just-
and I think what we talked about was if they continue to do this, normal people that were pushed to hacking, whatever their excuse may be, should stop. Right? It's just sort of like, all right, this just isn't worth it anymore. Like leveling up accounts and this and that, or whatever it may be. But the fact is there's always going to be people that figure it out. I think Clint and I were texting about in Rogue Company. Somebody was just caught cheating and they have an anti-cheat. Like there's always going to be people that
if you want
they
to cheat
want
badly
to.
enough, you can cheat, man. Like, yes, with or
Well,
without
that's
an
gonna happen,
anti-cheat.
no matter what
100%.
game. Counter-Strike has a bunch
And
too.
I
Yeah.
think that this just needs to pester those people who I just think it's that easy to just stop. Because I think majority of them were just people just like, you know what? Like, if they're not gonna get an anti-cheat, I'm just gonna download the cheats and do it myself. Like, everybody's cheating against me. I guess I'll
Yeah,
do it. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying, Dale? Absolutely, Rick. Like,
Yeah.
let's do it, bro.
It's that guy, or it's
All
like
right.
all these streamers are just cheating little rats. There's no way these guys can hit that. That's how they talk.
Right,
Yeah.
which is like that Timbo dude who he wakes up every day and just I think he's got a micro penis, but like 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 that guy he's a special breed. So you just gotta deal with those at
Tiny.
a
Yeah.
different
No,
way.
but like, yeah, I think that's what whatever they're doing, and the more I feel like the more consistent they're going to be, it's going to make it more annoying for not only cheaters but more annoying for those sites, and just annoy the shit out of them. Keep plugging away, please, because we appreciate it.
Right. So step one, like Chris is saying, good, but I think there could always be more. I'm down for a weekly. I'm down for an anti-cheat. Whatever we got to do, let's keep doing it.
Yes.
Keep doing the thing. And like
It's a
communication,
step
I
in the
think
right
to your guys' point has been better, but they're just tweeting that they're putting a ban wave out. I guess like,
Yeah.
Is there maybe what? I guess communication on the cheating side is good. What about like communication on the game side? Like what are we doing next? What's happening? Like
That's why
what
the
are we
step was like what
right? Like what are we what can we
Well,
see? What's the future of Warzone?
and-
Have we learned anything? Stopping power, dead silence. Like what
Yeah.
where can we go from here? If Warzone is going to be around for so long, communication game side has to be just as good as
I
cheating
agree.
side.
I think we all don't know how tough the transition. We just don't know. Like as far as like we had the holiday, obviously everything going on with COVID, and then you had the switch in titles. And with the switch in titles, we know went from what like IW mostly handling Modern Warfare to now it seems like Raven kind of taking over control of the social side of it and handling everything. Like I just don't know like how. I mean, if I've learned anything working with these type of companies, like it's transitions like that are always kind of a tough period. So I don't know. It might just take it a while to get everything swapped over, and now it's going to be smoother from here. That's my hope, is that it was just kind of with all the circumstances, it was not as clean a transition and a handoff to Raven as maybe we would have liked, and now it's just going to improve and improve. At least,
Yeah,
like,
sure, but it's got to
nailing
get
it
better.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
agreed. But that I'm hoping that maybe that's why it kind of it seems like I guess a switch flip, like you said, because it kind of did in a way.
Yeah, well, to clarify my wording on it too, it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm by no means saying the communication is great and like it's perfect at all. Like I want to kind of highlight that it's like a step forward of like a progress to what we had previously was literally no
Nothing.
communication, literally nothing, like at all, ever, other than
Yeah.
like one tweet every 3 months, like, hey guys, stop cheating. So like it's gotten way better. It's definitely not where I would like to see it.
To Joe's
or,
point,
like, but
I
it's again,
think
it's like a step forward, which is
I
important.
don't know anything about anything when it comes to game development and all these new guns and attachments and everything. Okay, I think they're scared to change anything. Attachments are broken. They're scared that stim glitch is going to come back for the 9th time. I think they're not going to disclose any sort of updates on the balancing side of things, because if they change things, things are going to break. I think it's a I think it's a
always
broken
been an issue
mess.
with COD though. Well, it's always been an issue with COD is the fact that to some degree, even though there are new engines, like Call of Duty is in a way like code on code on code on code on code over years. Like there's been some of it that's evolved, and I imagine, that's how something like the bomb glitch happened in Ghost, and like you code one thing and something else breaks. So yes, the stim glitch has been back 6 times. So yeah, maybe there is like, I don't know, maybe fear is not the right word, but like,
They can't.
I don't
fix
know.
it.
Maybe there are some you want to change some things, but yeah, you're worried maybe something will go wrong, and none of us understand the development or coding side enough to know how the hell all of that works. But maybe, yeah, no, could be a thing.
And the big problem moving forward as well, and also I've seen this in chat from Mr. Lucho, is Joe, what you doing?
Joe's headset died.
You got nothing?
So he can't hear us.
Can you nod if you can hear us?
He can't. He just typed in your chat saying he can't hear us. So Joe's just here for the ride.
Can't hear you. No idea what's going on right now. My A50 is just like,
I was
Cut out.
just
I
about to
didn't do
say we
anything.
made it almost through a whole episode without Chris.
no idea
like,
what's
going
going on. They're
emo,
probably saying
black
some
and
shit
white
about me.
stuff.
Yep.
Fuck you,
Now-
Clint.
There it is.
Now,
There it is.
so now we're going black and white.
Yeah, we
I'll
almost
reset
made a whole
these
episode.
again.
All right, we lost Joe. There, Chris is sad again. Okay.
Well, I had to do it for the. I think this is my gimmick now.
It is definitely your gimmick.
Yeah, I think
We got Sad
my
Crowder. We got Joe that can't hear us. He's just gonna roast Clint the rest of the time. The episode might just be chalked here. Might just need to cut it off right now. It's chalked. Okay.
Probably a good idea.
So yeah, we have season 2 coming. That's coming out on. Joe's our chat manager for the rest of the episode. All right, perfect. We have season 2 coming. That comes out on Thursday. There's a lot of new stuff coming. We're super excited about it, not only for Cold War, but on the Warzone side as well. I'm going to scroll through this stuff very quickly because Joe is trying to get his headset to work, and it's pretty funny. Let's throw this up. 4 new operators.
This is the brains of my duo.
Yep.
Ooh, we got new operators. Is it going to be something that we can use over the rose skin?
Absolutely not.
Probably
Rose
not.
skin's still going to be meta, so you guys can see these different
These are
operators
cool,
here.
though.
You
Yeah.
guys want to check out the Call of Duty blog and more information here. So we have 6 new weapons. New weapons. The Farah 83 assault rifle. The LC10 SMG.
Ooh.
That looks pretty cool.
That
we got
pistol scares me.
The machete. That guy looks
Isn't there
cool.
a pistol coming out?
The R1 Shadowhunter, which is a crossbow, looks like. That's
Okay.
scary. We have the ZRG 20mm sniper. Wow. Okay, that's a big gun.
Okay.
Wow, it's a big gun. It kind of looks like the Locust. Chat,
Yeah.
back me up here.
Yeah, it
Loki.
Hello, I'm back. Okay.
Loki.
Hello.
Hey, with Joe.
Hey!
Chat, it looks like the Loki. Okay.
Yeah,
and
it
then-
does a bit.
And then where's the pistol? Did I even scroll back?
Isn't there a pistol coming out? Or
Yeah,
am I
is it-
crazy?
That's the rumor. I've seen
That pistol is the only thing that scares me.
and then what else we got? We got
Sure, pistols always.
we got
scare me.
zombie
Yeah,
stuff, but
I know.
none of us really play zombies. If you guys like zombies, that's for you. You can go read that. We don't do that though. We
Well,
have
that's like an open world thing they're adding.
for zombies.
It's supposed to be like crazy. It's supposed to be something way
Whoa.
different.
Wait, what do you mean in open world? Like literally, you can.
I have no idea. Like Outbreak is
That could
supposed
actually,
to
that could be
be.
really
Ah,
fun.
Entirely
I
new
don't
large-scale
exactly know
zombies
how it's supposed to
experience.
be.
Wow, that's actually pretty
Wait,
cool.
that
if that's
could
the
probably be
case.
pretty fun. No lie.
Well, I thought
Okay.
there was a pistol. Is there not a pistol?
I thought there's a pistol, but maybe not. It's on this blog post.
Well, thank you. Well, yeah, I hope
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, right. That thing looked like a mess. Okay, let's go to 4 multiplayer maps. Wow, Apocalypse, Galova, Mansion, Miami Strike. Wow.
Miami Strike might be cool.
Yeah, it might be cool actually.
That could
What else we
potentially
got?
be a good like
Where's the
Yeah.
Warzone part?
Hardpoint map or something.
Warzone stuff
It's at the bottom.
at the bottom. It's lit. It's lit.
Yep.
Ooh, new prestige levels. Let's go.
There it is. Warzone content.
Warzone content. Here we go. This is the good stuff for us. New points of interest across for Donster. Number of points of interest. Blah, 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 blah. So new points to go. That's great.
That's cool.
Is it just going to be like prison with like a little opening on the side? I hope not.
Well,
Yeah,
Wait,
I
don't,
think
don't
it's
you remember when
supposed to
that
be
boat
like.
got added to Blackout? How popular that was?
there was
So
wait.
I
yeah,
think they're
that's
adding a
big
boat.
Boat.
And then I think they're adding just like new points of interest on the map, but it's supposed to add like just different levels, which I just read as more places for rats to go.
Well, I was gonna say the only thing that sucks
Yeah.
about when they add points of interest for me is they add these points of interest like outside of prison or outside of like just completely on the edge of the map, like hijacked and blackout, where it's
That's what I was
cool
trying
for
to
like
talk
a
about.
day. It's cool for a day, but then you never go back there again
yep.
because it's not like in the it's like I
Everybody
wish they
dropped
would
there for a
add-
couple days. You never touched it again.
like blow up downtown and give me a new point of interest there, or blow up or
Yeah.
even screw it, get rid of Superstore and throw something new there. Like just something like different in the middle area of the map would be really cool. That's like kind of where like I feel like they should focus on more for map development or new points of interest or
Well,
map changes.
I feel like what probably happens is they like look at data on a map, like a heat map, and they see where like there's probably not a lot of action or something like that, and then they put something there, but it's like that's not going to change that. It's not.
Probably
That's
a
not-
reason for that.
Well,
and
but
putting a
there's a
ship next
reason
to
is that
it.
it's on the outskirts of the map, so that I don't think putting points of interest on that will ever change it for more than like a week.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I just wonder if
Yeah.
that's like what it is. It's like literally like a data heat map thing. It's like, oh, we probably need something more interesting there, and people will go there. Like, no, yeah, for like a day or two, and then
Yeah, no, I think
Get rid of
That
block. Get rid of
mindset
all
is
those
not gonna work.
apartments with only one ladder up. Make it so you can hold your gun up when you take the zip lines. Get rid of ATC. Get rid of half a dam.
as much as I
Downtown.
want that stuff going, it's just part of me wonders like how much that stuff is actually just keeps. I don't know.
Well, I
a
think
lot-
in map,
a lot
I
of
think in map
players
change,
there,
I
a lot
think you
of
underestimate how many
numbers
people love
bad.
downtown. Like we hate downtown, but I think you
Yeah,
underestimate
there's
how
probably
many
a group
people
that
love
loves it.
staircases.
Yeah, like And when I
Oh,
say
I go there every day, and there's 4 or 5 teams. They love that
They
shit.
love
yeah.
it. Yeah.
95% of the player base probably fucking loves downtown. Like they're like, oh
That-
shit,
Well,
Daryl,
dude,
they got names
like,
for you.
this is gonna
Those
sound crazy, but get rid of Superstore. I'm fine with getting rid of that too. I don't care. Like even just something new there would be cool.
Just mix it up in a fun part of the map
Just
or
swap
something.
Superstore with
Yeah.
firing range so we could all be back in our home.
I'm
Yeah,
down for that too.
They even added Maven's hole to the map.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
true.
cool.
Dude, that hole, it's deep though. Like it goes way further down there than you expect. There's all sorts of treasure.
That's why it's they made
So
it
it's
after
your hole.
your hole.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gonna do it for the
Yeah.
episode. Thanks for chilling, everybody. Sorry we had to end the
Yeah,
episode
lost.
like that.
Yeah, lost down there.
Who has
So much loot though.
Crazy. There's the one big hole, and then there's like the tiny hole with the ladder.
That's our casters for the CDL, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Can you guys make a whole reference on the broadcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
Love to. Love to.
Wait, what'd you say last time you casted? You guys said something funny. I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. So we'll
Oh, when I
move
made Joe say horny for me, I actually made him say it out loud. Yeah.
that was it.
You said the abbreviation. I was like, Joe, what does that stand for?
I was gonna say it at first, but I thought in the back of my head, I was like, I've never really gotten in trouble for anything I said on broadcast, so I'll just go for it. I mean,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, I get a warning.
And they're probably like, what?
Half of Miles's lines are questionable, so like you'll be all right, Joe.
Yeah, the next one we gotta talk about is Scump. Have you seen the latest Scump control video? Because that guy,
No.
bro,
I have not.
guy's got a dump truck, so that's gonna be the new content tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Guy's got it going on.
We'd love to hear that. A little dumpy action.
He doesn't. Guy doesn't skip leg day. Neither do I. Hips don't lie, Mr. Scumper Jumper.
Another incredible episode of Hardpoints. Chat, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I've got another quality 2 hours. We're going to be streaming. Wait, Crowder, you streaming after this?
Yeah.
Bet.
I'm gonna go play wagers, I think.
Joe, you streaming in the morning or nah?
I'll probably wake up, have no idea what to do in my life, and turn my stream on. So yeah, I'll probably be on. in the
I'll
morning.
see
be
you in
there
the
tomorrow.
morning. Clint, you're not
Yeah, I'll be
streaming,
there.
so screw you, bet it. But it's nice to have you back on Verdansk.
I think I have to check in at like 11 or something. Oh, wait, maybe that was 11 Pacific, so maybe I could.
It
stream.
was. It was 11 Pacific. Yes.
Oh,
we-
maybe.
You got time.
What?
You got to get
I
a
thought-
stream in.
Fucking stream, dude.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Chat, thank you guys so much. We're going to send y'all over to Crowder's stream.
I'm live.
This episode will probably be up on YouTube tomorrow. There's matches going on, though. We appreciate you guys hanging out and enjoy the rest of the Super Week. We'll be back probably next week or the week after for another episode. Thanks for chilling, everybody. We love you. And enjoy Crowdy Boy.
Later.
Later.